Cheers.
Hey, good afternoon, and welcome into Hangin with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. We say hello, if you're listening online, to our friends up in Shreveport that would normally be with us on 1130 The Tiger. If you watch it on CST or you watch it on YouTube, welcome in. The gremlins, I guess, got to our computer open a little bit. But, has the last 24 hours have been extremely stressful, and the state has been through a lot with Hurricane Laura coming ashore last night, and now headed into the Shreveport area. And I think we saw earlier today the first hurricane warnings for Shreveport ever. Yeah. So you're from there, and we're going to talk about this a little bit. But by the way, we were expecting an open. So good afternoon, everybody. I'm Charles Hanagriff. This is Jacob Hester. Paul O'Neill, our video producer. Cade Wazan, our audio producer. Playboy Morty in the studio with us today. So however you are listening and or watching, we welcome you in this afternoon. I want to get to what happened last night and this morning in a minute, but I want you to start because being a Shreveport native and obviously haven't been through bad weather before, but we've talked about this a little bit, mostly tornadoes. A hurricane, of this magnitude getting into the Shreveport area at this velocity is unheard of.
It is. You mentioned it off the top. First time, at least as far back as we can see, this is the first time Shreveport's ever been under a hurricane warning. Even a Category 1 hurricane can do devastation to Shreveport just because in the Bossier area, just because it's not set up for that. And there's no regulations, obviously that far north in the state. And so it's something that it is kind of unseen in Louisiana. I know the Red River there, which I've been on many a times. I mean, it's got white caps. That's how strong the wind is, and that's not something that I've ever seen before. So, obviously prayers throughout the state of Louisiana. I mean, this is a hurricane that has touched all parts of Louisiana. I know it's gone through Natchitoches. It's going through Ruston. It's obviously gone through Lake Charles and Lafayette. I mean, this is a hurricane that has really reached levels in our state that we have never seen before.
And, I was watching Alexandria when I first got up this morning. We were up pretty late last night, and the devastation in Lake Charles was, extensive. We knew that coming in. We know what a storm of this magnitude could do. And if you've seen the pictures and the videos, one I saw this morning was out of the Golden Nugget Casino, which was, of course, empty at the time. But this was late last night, probably somewhere around midnight. They have a video of the hallway that leads to the gaming floor, I believe is where it was. And the sound was up on it. And if you've ever lived through a big hurricane, you know what it sounds like. It sounds like a freight train. There's no other way to describe it. And you could clearly hear what sounded like the whistle and the roar of a freight train in that casino. And for so many people last night and this morning, that was very real. So our hearts go out to you. So it's all we can say. The parts of the coast, the storm surge was significant. Maybe not quite as bad as they had originally forecast, but it doesn't mean it didn't do plenty of damage. We here in Baton Rouge were largely spared. It rained. We knew it was going to, but we did not get the high, for the most part, for the high force winds and things of that nature. The Acadiana area, took a hit. A lot of people are still without power, going to be without power. But Lake Charles was where it got, in Cameron, where it got hit the hardest. So, all I can tell you is in the aftermath of these things, when we see the devastation, it brings it home, man. It's tough.
It does, and the devastation to property in areas that we know and love, and also I don't know the updated total, but there is a loss of life, a 14-year-old girl who a tree fell through their home, and just devastating. It's always devastating anytime you lose a life, but once a young life, it makes it even worse. And so, yeah, I mean, hurricanes are something we're used to, but it never gets any easier. I'll be honest with you.
So what is your family doing up in Shreveport? I mean, this is uncharted territory for them now to prepare for something like this.
No, it is. Again, we went back yesterday and we talked about being ready for tornadoes, but luckily there hasn't been too much damage. I've talked to my mother and they've had some damage. They had they had a doghouse in the back and it got blown over and things like that. But for the most part, so far, it hasn't been too bad. The winds are still high though. They're not really out of the woods just yet. My dad doesn't have power. That's something, and they've got some roof stuff going on, but nothing major just yet. But you're right. I mean, it's not something they're used to. Obviously, I've been through it, and they've kind of gone through it with me before, but not in their hometown. So, in Alexandria, sometimes they deal with hurricane stuff, but not a lot. Natchitoches never deals with it. Shreveport never deals with it. Ruston never deals with things like this, and so you just hope that they're doing the right thing, listening to the right people to make sure they're staying safe.
All right, so as we get the show started today, Aaron Torres from Fox Sports Radio will be with us at the bottom of the hour. He's going to talk with us mostly about Will Wade, whose lawyer fired back yesterday at the allegations, which we're going to talk about here in a second. Aaron Torres is going to be with us in the second hour. Brad Teague, who has been kind of a champion on this show this week, the athletic director at Central Arkansas, managed to put together a football schedule that's going to start in a little over 48 hours for the Central Arkansas Bears. I'm a fan. I'm rooting for them.
I'm a fan forever for what they've done.
I've never watched a Central Arkansas game in my life that I can remember. Anyway, I'm a fan.
You never
Send
watched,
me a shirt.
They got the turf. They got the purple and
I've
gray
seen
turf.
I've seen highlights and stuff like that, but
right.
My
mom lived in Conway, Arkansas for a little bit, so
okay.
I guess I've kind of somewhat. We used to do the 7-on-7 there when I was in high school, but I'm with you. I've not been locked in. Right. I will be locked in now.
You think you'll send us a shirt? You'll send us some gear?
Oh, for sure. I'm going to ask.
Well, you're the king of that program.
I am the king of getting some gear.
Get some stuff.
You've been running with the get me to a yes, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of been something that we've talked about. Well, he did that. And not only did he do it, he did it and then some. Because, they just scheduled a game a couple of days ago. That's going to be a couple of days after they play Austin Peay.
Mm-hmm.
They are playing on a Saturday, and we mentioned it yesterday, turning around and playing on a Thursday against UAB, going from Montgomery to Birmingham, because it is so hard in the offseason to get to the football season. And that's when, I had a problem with what Desmond Howard said about Nebraska. And I went on earlier today on Columbus radio up in Ohio, and I said the same thing. Don't fault Nebraska for trying to play football. Did they say some things they probably wish they could take back about the Big Ten? Probably. But it's the emotions of trying to get ready because so much hard work goes into it. And if they felt like they could keep their players safe, they're going to work hard to try to play some football somewhere. That's what Central Arkansas has done. Southland says you can't play football. Okay, well, McNeese doesn't have a game scheduled right now. Northwestern State's got one against Tulsa. They've gone out, and I believe now they have 10 because they're playing Eastern Kentucky twice, a home and home, which never happens. And so they didn't listen to people who said you can't. They found a way to get to that yes that we talk about, and now the players on this team are going to have the ability to play a full schedule, and their fans are going to be able to go, watch them, I'm sure, for the first time ever on ESPN, where they're playing Austin Peay. That's not something they've ever been able to do before. So first class maybe for the rest of September coming up.
Well, it's funny you should mention Nebraska because within the hour, the Omaha World-Herald has obtained a copy of a lawsuit that 8 Nebraska football players have filed against the Big Ten. We knew this was coming. It was just a matter of who was going to do it and when and in what jurisdiction. But we'll get you the details on that. The suit is being filed in the District Court of Lancaster County. And basically it's saying, you know what, they're trying to reverse a decision. They're still trying to play. They're still trying to get to a yes. The player's attorney said the lawsuit isn't about money or damages. It's about real life relief. because the league made an arbitrary and capricious decision to take away that opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a legal expert. I don't expect they'll win, but they're still trying. Even at this late juncture, they're still trying.
It's such a weird feeling because so many people that are close to the Big Ten are still trying and wanting to push forward, and there's no transparency. I mentioned I was on in Columbus with Bo Bishop, who was on our show last week, and James Laurinaitis, who's been on our show many times, and they had the same feeling. They still want to know who, what, when, and where, and why. They want to know all those answers to the questions they have, and they're not getting them right now. And we talked about the Nebraska situation, and Big Ten country, for the most part, still doesn't feel like they've got an answer because they don't. And, you know, a lot of schools wanted to move forward. We talked about Commissioner Sankey coming out and saying, hey, if we've got, 12 of our 14 teams that are in really good standing as far as the test and 2 aren't, maybe we continue to move forward. And that was kind of the question that they had. Why was that not brought up to the Big Ten? If there was 6 schools that wanted to move forward and play each other twice, why is that not an option? And we felt like they rushed to judgment, did not give themselves enough time. They were not patient and did not check every avenue to try to play somewhat of a football season.
So we'll do with some of that with Brad Teague from Central Arkansas, Ken Trahan from Crescent City Sports. So will be with us in the 2:00 hour, not just with the Saints who are practicing today, but also maybe a little bit of news where the Pelicans coaching search is concerned. The NBA, this came down within the hour. If you haven't heard, the NBA players after staging a protest and skipping all 3 games yesterday, after meeting this morning, have decided to resume the playoffs. The 3 games today will be postponed. They are working on schedule right now. They could start again as soon as tomorrow. We'll touch on that a little bit later on in today's show. We are brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. And we're glad that you're with us today. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
Associated Grocers, agbr.com. Are you looking for a job or are you looking for a career? Because if you're looking for a career, Associated Grocers is a place where you can start and really grow your career. Variety of positions throughout the company in a family-oriented atmosphere. Great benefits, great compensation. And, when you feel good about where you work, it makes so many other facets of your life just go that much smoother. And I think that's what we hear time and time again with the people over at Associated Grocers.
You're exactly right, Handy. You mentioned the benefits. You can go to that website, agbr.com. You can click on careers. You can go to the benefits tab. It's going to pull up all the benefits they have. Consumer-driven healthcare plan. You're talking about paid holidays, paid sick, paid vacation, 401k plan, also life insurance plans. They have got some of the best benefit packages that you'll find. Again, the website is agbr.com. Click on careers because it's a career, not a job.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
ServiceMASTER Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMASTER Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMASTER Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
At Corval Toyota in Opelousas, you can get into a new Camry for $239 per month, or take 0% financing for 6 years. $239 per month, or 0% for 6 years. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corval Toyota in.
Tune into a Thursday edition of Game Time with Jimmy Ott. We're live from Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, weather permitting. We'll be there from 6 to 8 p.m., so come eat some delicious char-grilled oysters or tune in here at 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
And we welcome you back in, brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. You know, I don't know how your phone's been going this morning, but for my friends and family down on the coast, who are all okay, but all, you know, a lot of them took some damage. We're getting pictures this morning from some of the places that were hardest hit. There's a lot of water in a lot of different places, all I can tell you. But
this hits so many spots within our state that I'm trying to figure out exactly like where it's hit, because it's almost hit everybody somewhat, but you're trying to find out the most devastating places, and you're trying to check on as many people as you can. I got some pictures from DeRidder, Louisiana. I used to play youth baseball growing up, travel baseball with someone who's from DeRidder and now coaches baseball there. It's like, you're trying to check on those people. You're trying to check on everybody that you can think of that was in this devastating hurricane's path.
So at the bottom of the hour, Aaron Torres is going to be with us. He's going to talk a little bit about what has happened in the Will Wade situation. Yesterday, after we got off the air, Sports Illustrated published a document. This was a letter that Will Wade's attorney sent to the NCAA. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm going to kind of give you the highlights here. It says that the NCAA now suggests that it has received information reflecting potential violations by Coach Wade and has received and requested additional information. No such information has been shared with Coach Wade or his counsel. Moreover, if any such evidence existed and was credible, it assuredly would have been shared with the institution. Allegations levied and actions taken. None of that has occurred. It talks about a Coach Wade discussing an offer to an individual associated with a prospect to be an assistant coach, which is completely permissible under NCAA legislation. Implicated Coach Wade in an effort to pay prospects is simply false. No such evidence was introduced at either of the federal basketball corruption trials. In response, or outside the presence of jury, one of the defense attorneys merely read to the presiding judge excerpts from a single phone call. In response, the trial judge ruled that phone call was irrelevant to the pending corruption trial and inadmissible as evidence. And while it appears the NCAA is frustrated that its long investigation has failed to yield any evidence of a violation, we cannot sit by as the NCAA tries to lay responsibility for that failure at Coach Wade's feet. It is simply not fair to paint Coach Wade as uncooperative as this case presumably enters to the IARP process. At all times, he has cooperated with the NCAA's many requests. So now we get into, I asked for this and you didn't give it to me. Well, you didn't ask for that. Well, yes, we did. Well, we sent you that. Well, we're going to use this. Well, that wasn't admissible. Right. We're going to use this. Well, that wasn't credible. It's always been apparent to me that Will Wade's going to fight this every step of the way.
And there's a confidence. There's a confidence to him and his legal team. I don't think there's any question about that. Because again, we're going to go back to it. You don't come on with Jordy and T-Bob the morning after some things broke, and he's done it every single time. Every time something's broke or came out, and I'm going to use air quotes there for those listening on radio because it's kind of more of the same. We've already known this information. Now you just got kind of dates and different things attached to it. But they remain confident in the fact that there was no wrongdoing, and they're going to continue to try to move forward. Now, we don't know, what's going to happen, but I can tell you there is definitely confidence in both those parties.
It's very Bruce Pearl-esque, okay? Bruce Pearl at Auburn.
Do you just make a verb out of Bruce Pearl?
Yeah, it's one of those things you've probably never heard before, but you knew what it meant right off the bat.
Yeah.
Bruce Pearl, so we know what went down at Tennessee, and he lost his job over that. But when he got to Auburn, Bruce Pearl was accused of any number of things. And Bruce Pearl basically at every turn said, that's not true. Talk to my lawyer. Wade has taken a very similar track. I didn't do what you said I did. Talk to my lawyer. We need you to cooperate with this investigation. Well, at the beginning, it was no, because I don't think that that's right. So he got suspended. So they turned around, changed lawyers, came back and said, okay, what you got? And we've been asking what you got for, 18 months now?
Yeah.
Somewhere between 18 months and 2 years. What do you got? Well, we got this phone call with Javonte Smart. Well, come on down. Let's talk. Came down, talked to him, talked to his family, talked to the coaches.
Cleared him. Javonte.
Played.
Yeah.
2 days later, he played. What else you got? Well, we got this trial. We got this phone call. Judge threw it out. What else you got? All right. Now we got this call to an assistant coach. That's legal. What else you got? We think you paid 11 players. Okay. Come on. What can you do to prove that I paid 11 players or prospective players? Because that's as serious an allegation as it gets. Paying players and academic fraud. That's it. That's the top of the mountain. Okay. Well, we don't have enough to move forward ourselves, the NCAA, but we're going to send this to the IARP.
Right.
Because we can't get you.
And we pay our guys a lot of money to be able to police this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't feel like we can do it on our own, so we're going to source this thing out.
Yeah. So it goes back to now the NCAA tries to turn up the pressure. Well, we got the football program on some stuff too. What you got? Well, Ed Ogeron had some impermissible contact. Level 3 violation. We pulled him off the road. What else you got? Well, Odell Beckham was handing out $100 bills at the national championship game. Yeah, we know. Odell's an idiot. They paid the $2,000 back. We told him don't ever do that again. What else you got? Well, it was the father of a football player that was paid for a job that he didn't do. Okay, $180,000. It's serious now.
Right.
All right. Yes, that booster has been incarcerated, went to trial, copped a plea, said he did this, has to pay restitution, and is in jail as we speak. Okay. Did LSU put the money up? No. John Paul Funes ran it through the hospital. Horrible, horrible thing to do, okay? And he's in jail for it and should be, okay? What else you got? All right, because those things have been addressed, and in some cases, penalties have been enacted. No. Now you got 11 more guys. Okay. Show me what you got.
Right.
That's what the lawyer's saying here. Prove to me that, because I'm supposed to be innocent until you can prove something to put me on probation. Now you're accusing me of paying 11 prospective players. We haven't seen names on these prospective players. My information is that some of them ended up at LSU and some of them didn't. And I don't have exact numbers.
Right.
But they're not all here. So you want to go get some kid somewhere else to say on the record, yeah, LSU offered me all this money, but I went over here instead. Oh,
yeah. Hey,
well, isn't that interesting?
Good luck finding someone that says, yeah, they offered me a lot of money, but I went to this school who didn't give me any money, I promise, and I turned down all of that money. So
this continues to go on throughout college basketball with the heavyweight. Kansas is reacting in much the same way, except their problem is a little bit exacerbated because this IARP was able to tie the football allegations into the basketball allegations. Now, then it becomes a lack of institutional control, and you got real big problems. But they're basically saying, we didn't do this. Prove to us that we did this, and then you can enact the penalties.
This is so drawn out, Hanny. This has been such a long process. Like, if you've got something, show me. Give it to me.
LSU's not the only one in this boat. Kansas is saying, show me. Arizona is saying, show me. NC State is saying, show me.
Duke's got their own problems as well, but it's Duke. So
that's a different case. The only people that they've nailed so far is Oklahoma State. They banned them from the postseason for this year. Everybody else in Louisville is a different case. Okay, that was the brothel. Okay, you can't. That was a different case. So
where did Rick Pitino go?
He is at
Iota or somewhere. Iota,
yeah.
Hey, Playboy, appreciate that.
So this is what the fire back is. You're gonna leak to Sports Illustrated that you think my client paid 11 guys. Well, I'm going to leak to Sports Illustrated the letter I sent to you, which was outlining you got no evidence. We've already refuted some of these claims. We've already enacted punishments on some of these claims, and you're on a witch hunt. So now we're going to find out who's got the goods, because I think the burden of proof is on the IARP. I don't think it's on Will Wade. He can't prove a negative, so they got to come in and say, we got you. Show me how. That's kind of where they're at.
It's exactly where they're at.
I promise you, Will Wade's has shown, like you said, number one, he's moved this on to council and he's on the other things, and he's not going to just come in and go, well, you know what? Everything you guys say is right, because he says, no, well, everything you say is not right. So very simple. If the IARP's got him, if they've got proof and they level sanctions down on LSU, level 1 or level 2 sanctions, they get caught with lack of institutional control, he ends up with a show cause at the end of this, and Will Wade's going to be out of a job. And if they don't, then he's got one hell of a story to tell, which is, you know what? They came after me for 2 solid years with everything they had and couldn't find a damn thing on me.
And Will knows that his contract is tied to this.
He signed the contract on purpose. He said, listen, if they find something on me, then you can fire me and not do anything. Now, think about what that means, okay? Will Wade's got a contract that's worth right at $2.5 million a year. And I think when this all started, I think he still had 5 years left on his contract. It might have been 4, but at any rate, we're talking about $10 to $12 million. And he says, I'll sign this thing that says, if you find me guilty of these violations and you fire me for cause, you don't owe me a dime. Now, if I were guilty and they said, well, you know what? We need you to sign this contract. No. I want to go with my original contract.
Right.
That way, if you fire me, then you got to take me to court on all kind of stuff. And then, chances are I'm going to get paid somewhere down the line. He said, nope, I'll sign it. Catch me if you catch me doing something I'm not supposed to do, then you can fire me and you don't owe me a thing. We'll see. It continues. See what Aaron Torres from Fox Sports Radio thinks about this when we come back. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny. Saints coverage, Chiefs, Cowboys, Thursday night, Sunday night, and Monday Night Football. From the opening kickoff to the playoffs and the Super Bowl, the NFL lives on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Prompt, professional, reliable. If you're looking for a breath of fresh air with your AC and heating needs, call the professionals at Annis & Bitter. Annis & Bitter, a Rheem Pro partner, keeping your family comfortable for over 25 years.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business.
I'd make it available in dozens, if not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644.
Coming up on Fridays, Off the Bench. Recap the latest from Saints camp. It's a black and gold scrimmage at Pads. How LSU football continues to navigate the recent outbreak. And a casual Friday tier list. That's right. We're ranking breakfast cereal. Off the Bench. 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
We are brought to you by Richardson, the home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Join us now from Fox Sports Radio, Aaron Torres. Aaron, good afternoon. How are you?
Gentlemen, I'm doing well. How are we doing today?
Hanging in there, doing pretty well. We have seen for a couple days now jousting back and forth of, I'm going to call them leaked documents between the NCAA and Will Wade's attorney. Basically, you did this, no, I didn't, back and forth. What do you make of this exchange as we head to the IARP phase?
I think it's exactly what you just said, Charles. Man, it's one side trying to paint the other as the bad guy or as the guilty party, I guess is maybe even the better way to put it. Obviously, look, I thought it was just as interesting the documentation that Will Wade's lawyer presented yesterday. We got an explanation, whether anybody believes it or not, about the comment that he made on Wiretap that was played on the documentary. So to me, it's exactly what you just said. It's each side trying to paint each other in a certain way. But I will say, for LSU fans who have followed this day by day for really the better part of 2.5 years, I think we're inching towards a resolution here because, as you referenced, the independent group is going to be looking at this thing here, who knows when. But the NCAA believes that they have a case as of right now. We don't know exactly what they have other than rumors and accusations, and we'll see here over the coming days and weeks.
Where's the burden of proof, Aaron? I mean, we have so little experience with this council, the IARP. This is an independent group from the NCAA. Who has the burden of proof here?
Well, you would think that the burden of proof would be on the NCAA, right? And so for people who don't really understand, I mean, first of all, you can kind of equate it to the criminal justice system, right? Everyone is presumed innocent and they have to be proven guilty by the courts. And what has essentially happened throughout the history of NCAA law enforcement is it's really kind of insane when you think about it, is the NCAA is basically judge, jury, and executioner in the sense that they come to your campus, they try to figure out what you did wrong. You tell them what the school did wrong. Then the school tries to defend themselves, and then they're defending themselves against the NCAA. And so what this independent counsel is supposed to do is be a third party, have no vested interest in the outcome other than finding the quote-unquote accurate or correct outcome. And that's what's going to be so interesting. There's a few schools for people who are kind of in that LSU bubble. Memphis is going through the same thing with the James Wiseman accusation. NC State was caught up in this pretty early in the process, and they have a history with the NCAA that they don't believe that they can essentially get a fair trial from the NCAA, and they're going through this process. So LSU, I could be mistaken, but I believe they're the third team that appears to be going through this process with this independent counsel, and we have no precedent and no idea what they value, what will be important, or what their verdicts will be based on, Charles.
It was Kansas, which is the other
right.
one. And the reason I asked about burden of proof with regard to the independent counsel is we know how the NCAA operates. Is this how this independent body will also operate? Because we just don't have a whole lot of precedent here.
There's literally zero precedent. But it was this council, and I'm sure you guys have explained it over the last day or so on this show, but this council was put into place for exactly what we've just spent the last 2 or 3 minutes talking about, which is that it really, at its most basic concept, the NCAA justice system really isn't very fair. And not to say that schools haven't broken NCAA rules in the past, and not to say that, frankly, whether you like NCAA rules or not, you do have to play by the rule book. But the idea, it's really funny, guys. I'll tell you really quick. Obviously, Oklahoma State was the first school to go through the NCAA process, and they went in front of the NCAA. They got what they believed to be a very unfair, ruling against them, a one-year postseason ban. But I bring it up because, I basically was talking to Mike Boynton, their head coach, on my podcast, and we were talking about this very concept of how can the NCAA both, investigate you and then also come to a punishment conclusion, punishment phase, whatever you want to call it. It makes no sense. And what's funny about it is this is stuff that Jerry Tarkanian, the legendary UNLV coach, was complaining about literally 40 years ago. So it appears as though we finally have this outside counsel, but we don't yet know how they're going to operate.
Aaron, for me, it's just we're sitting here talking. It's like the NCAA thinks, and the NCAA believes that they've got all this information, so much so that they're giving it to someone else, this independent counsel, and they take so long. And I realize that you want to gain all the information that you can possibly get, but it bleeds into years and multiple years, and then that holds a cloud over some of these programs' heads. And the ones that are innocent, I mean, you have a tough time recruiting and getting a positive light on your program when the NCAA, they take as long as they do, and then once they feel like they've got information, then they send it to someone else?
Yeah, well, no, this is a situation that all these schools are dealing with. I mean, not to get super nerdy down the college basketball rabbit hole, But, Arizona, I believe this year had like a 6-person recruiting class, and 5 of the players are international players. And the reason was, I was talking to somebody on their staff, it's because they have questions in the recruiting of American players that they simply can't answer. Louisville had a top prospect decommit probably 2 or 3 weeks ago for this exact reason. He said publicly that, I don't want to go to a school and not know if I'm going to be able to play in the NCAA tournament. So, Jacob, this is a situation that all of these schools are dealing with. I think Penny Hardaway is arguing on his campus, even though obviously you guys know Musa Cisse ended up there, that it has hurt his recruiting as well. So I'm just telling you, Jacob, you guys are not the only ones that feel this way, and you're certainly not the only program being impacted. Like I said, Arizona just, they were just in a situation where they were getting asked all these questions by these American-born players, and they frankly couldn't answer them. I think Kansas is going through much the same in the schools that I mentioned as well, Jacob. So LSU is by far definitely not alone.
And the NCAA's got the nerve to wonder why they feel why the schools feel like they are being treated unfairly, or at the very least differently. And there's no better example than the cases of North Carolina and Missouri. North Carolina, and they were both academic fraud cases. North Carolina fought them tooth and nail, admitted the classes were bogus, but because they were offered to everybody and not just the student athletes, the NCAA said go and send no more. And Missouri said, you know what, we had a rogue tutor that did this. We admit it. We understand that this is against the rules. Please go easy on us. North Carolina got bupkis, and Missouri got just absolutely annihilated. So why the NCAA would have any incredulity to think that a school would think they're going to be treated fairly in this, need only to point to those 2 cases, and those are just the 2 most recent ones that I can think of.
Well, and it's, one of the great tweets that I've ever sent was the day that the North Carolina academic case came down, or excuse me, it was the day that Louisville had to bring down their 2013 postseason banner. For people who don't remember, that was because they basically had strippers in the dorm rooms, and the strippers were considered to be quote unquote extra benefits. Insert your own punchline there. But North Carolina was committing academic fraud for 20 years. And so I tweeted out, if this is really about, about student athletes and, about the educational opportunity that college provides, why are we punishing Louisville for Cinnamon and Destiny, but UNC, nobody cares, 20 years academic fraud. So you could go to all of these cases. You mentioned Missouri. The one that comes to mind for me is one that I fought for 2 or 3 years ago. SMU got a 1-year postseason ban because one tutor was helping one player on the team. The player leaves the program. The tutor is fired. 2 years later, they get a postseason ban. So listen, Charles, I'll just say point blank, you guys are not alone. It is something that every fan base in America truly doesn't understand. And it's one of those, sometimes guys, some of these narratives that pop up, I think are nonsense and they're overblown. But I do think any individual fan base that just has no idea what they're going to get from the NCAA, and that the NCAA does play favorites, the fact that they seemingly had no interest in investigating all the Zion Williamson Duke allegations, while, what's going on at LSU, what's going on at NC State, on and on and on. I understand the frustration by fans in situations like that.
Hey, Aaron, before we let you go today, let's have a little bit of what's going on in college basketball as far as what the season's looking like. We know the Pac-12 has suspended everything until the spring, and so they're going to be delayed in their basketball season. Obviously, we know within the SEC and the Big 12 and the ACC going to move forward with it as right now as it was scheduled. What's the latest you're hearing from some of the Pac-12 teams as far as how they're going to handle this thing?
This is in basketball you're talking about, Jacob?
Yeah.
Yeah, listen, I think that the basketball programs are a little frustrated. I had Mick Cronin on my podcast a few weeks ago. His players, at least as of maybe 10 days ago, had not yet returned to campus, and UCLA was not planning on having in-person classes, and he was really frustrated. And Jacob, it comes down to stuff that guys like the three of us know about, but maybe people that aren't in college athletics don't realize. He was talking about not only the mental health drain of the players being at home, but the mental health drain by the parents of having teenagers that haven't been in the house for years at home. The fact that he's got a 6'10", 270-pound center and his parents can't afford to feed him. And so it's stuff like that I think is frustrating these coaches. And we'll see what happens. I mean, the big hiccup right now, and it's incredible. I was just thinking about this, guys, right before you called. But, I've gotten into this routine of working out at home, and I was a guy that would wake up every morning and go to the gym. I don't think gyms are open yet in California. I was thinking right before you called, is my gym even open? And so I bring that up because no gyms are open means that basically a lot of these athletic programs are having trouble getting into their facilities to even train. So I know that a lot of the Pac-12 schools, they still have their players at home. Now, some I know like Arizona has their players on campus. There are a few others, but I believe both LA schools and I believe both Bay Area schools, their players are still at home. And so I don't know what has to change. I wish there was more public pressure in Pac-12 country, not to necessarily play games, because I think the Pac-12 is a little bit of a different deal. But we do got to start pushing forward, and we do got to start figuring out a way to get these kids back to campus, because it's like I said, the mental health of them, the physical health of them, and the fact that, as we've all talked about for months now, the safest place that they can be is on campus with their medical staff, with the people around them. I'm with you, Jacob. I don't really have any answers, but I don't think any answers have really been provided. But I do think that even for the basketball programs, it's time to start thinking about the season ahead and get these kids back to campus.
Aaron Torres from Fox Sports Radio, thanks so much for your time. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon.
No problem, guys. Thank you. Have a great afternoon.
You too, Aaron.
We'll take a break. In hour number 2, Brad Teague, the athletic director at Central Arkansas, will be with us. This is Hangin with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny.
Our friends over at Tiger Air and the American Standard heating and air conditioning systems that they install and service. I am so happy with my unit because not only does it do a great job of heating and cooling my home, but I started to save money. The very first energy bill that I saw after I installed the unit, the efficiency of the unit plus the programmable thermostat. You know how sometimes you leave for work, you forgot to adjust the thermostat, you adjust it from your cell phone. You can set it if you've got a set routine every day. You can set it, it'll automatically adjust. That way you're not running that expensive air conditioner while you're not at home.
As you know, Hanny is a very happy customer of Tiger Air. He is not the only one. You can go to tiger-air.com, check out some of these testimonials, like the one from Melanie. Just wanted to say a quick thank you for the 30 years of service on my HVAC and the installment of my new HVAC. Over the last 30 years, Tiger Air has serviced my heating and air units twice a year and done a fantastic job. You can check those out at tiger-air.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Here at the Big Squeezy, we continue to serve the Baton Rouge and Southeast Louisiana areas during these troubling times. We are dedicated to providing you healthy food items to help you live your best life. From our cold-pressed juices to our delicious smoothies, let the Big Squeezy keep you going. Stay active, stay happy, and let us help you stay healthy. Visit us at our locations and also inside of Alexander's and Mathern's grocery stores or online at thebigsqueezy.com.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
This is big, really big. I mean really, really, really big. Because Honda's summer clearance event is going on right now at Richards Honda. With 0 to the 4th power on brand new Honda Civics. That's 0 down, 0 due at signing, 0 security deposit, and 0 first month payment. Plus, summer clearance on every new vehicle in stock. Just another reason why people call Richards Honda the smart choice. I-12 at Millerville Road and richardshonda.com.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
ServiceMASTER Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMASTER Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMASTER Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Thursday's AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Tigers and Saints on the practice field. We'll talk about all of it with Mike Detillier. Join us Thursday, 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
We're brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Just to kind of wrap up the topic, Mark Schlabach was the one that wrote the piece for ESPN that referred to the 11 alleged violations, the alleged payments by Will Wade. He thinks that this case is nowhere near its end.
The allegations against LSU and men's basketball coach Will Wade are both extensive and damning, but it will likely be months before the case comes to a conclusion. The Infractions Referral Committee must decide whether or not to accept the case and whether or not to grant LSU's request to separate allegations involving its football program from its men's basketball program. The complex case unit will then decide whether or not additional investigation is needed, and only then would LSU and Will Wade appear before the independent resolution panel, which would decide his fate, the Tigers' fate, and what, if any, penalties would be appropriate. More than likely, this case will not be decided until sometime in 2021.
Did you get all that? Do I have to draw a flow chart? I mean, doesn't this sound like a prisoner going through appeal after appeal? You know,
it does.
You got the judge, and then you got the Circuit Court of Appeals, and then I mean, 2021. I listen to that, and I almost go 2022.
We're gonna kick this can down the road until we get you.
You know, it took them 15 years to get Tarkanian. Aaron Torres brought up Tarkanian.
Yeah, he did.
It took them 15 years to get Tarkanian. I'm not making this up. The case started in 77, finished in 92.
Yeah.
In between there, Dale Brown jousted with the NCAA any number of times. Now, they didn't get Dale on anything until the very end of his career. The same thing with Tarkanian. Tarkanian was on his way out at UNLV, ended up doing a short stint with the Spurs. But if you think, oh, man, this is going on for 2 or 3 years, not unprecedented. Maybe not even unusual. I think 2021 might be when I listen to that flow chart like I'm talking about, I think 2021 is optimistic.
And I think Aaron thought I was only asking about LSU, about the cloud being over the program. I was talking about I was including Arizona and Kansas and NC State when I mentioned that, because Arizona is having trouble. Arizona's a blue blood. I think we can agree on that.
This is about DeAndre Ayton, who is 2 years into his NBA
who plays
career
for Playboy Sons.
North Carolina State is into this over Dennis Smith, who plays for your beloved Knicks now, after his time in Dallas.
Yeah.
Okay, he's what, in year 4, I believe.
Yeah,
something like that. Okay. NC State's deal's about him. 2021, huh?
And so it holds
Good luck.
and it holds this cloud over the program for people who are going to sign their second contracts before we hear anything else about it. And Arizona's having to go get guys from all over the world because now they can't recruit because of the things that you're saying that they've done. And if they have done them, just tell them they've done them and throw sanctions on them. It doesn't have to take 17 years or 5 years or 4 or however long it always takes NCAA.
You think this is hurting Arizona in recruiting?
Yes.
I'm not sure it is, and I'll use
within the states. It is.
Is it okay? Memphis is under investigation because of Wiseman. Is it hurting them? Not really. They had a pretty strong recruiting class.
Memphis doesn't have the heat that Arizona has right now. No. Wiseman is because of paying for moving. Arizona's been under this for longer.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I'll give you that. And LSU may have lost Musa Cisse over this. Maybe not. But other than that, it's a pretty doggone good recruiting class, right?
It is.
Kansas is still recruiting. NC State's still recruiting. I don't know that it's doing the damage that
if you lose one though, that's losing. What if Musa Cisse turns out to be who knows what?
Okay, I'm not saying it's nothing,
yeah.
But is it really?
I think it's affected Arizona more than anybody.
Okay. Hour number 2, straight ahead, hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This isn't just another day, it's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business.
I'd make it available in dozens. Make that thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
Get an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Callahan Injury Lawyers. Now, Hangin with Hester and Hanny with Jacob Hester and Charles Hanagriff. Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger. Alongside Jacob Hester, here's Charles Hanagriff.
Hour number 2, Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Hang in there, Shreveport, as Hurricane Laura continues to move northward. If you're watching with us on CST or on YouTube, 104.5 ESPN is the channel. Please go and subscribe. You can talk to us in the Bayou Ford chat. Some of the questions, lots of talk in the first hour about the case for and against Will Wade. You did something. Okay, I kind of made the comment about Arizona recruiting because I hadn't paid a whole lot of time paying attention to it. I just figured if it had been one of those really, really crushing things that it would have been more on my radar. You actually did a little research on Arizona basketball recruiting. They have been all over the place.
Well, they did sign 7 guys, and most of those guys were 4-star signees, and so it was a good class. It was a top 5 class, and of course, anytime you sign 7 and the way the composite rankings are, you're going to be up there a little bit. But they had to go to France, Mexico, Lithuania twice, and Estonia.
Did they want to go there? I wonder.
One guy from Phoenix and one guy from Orange, California.
Was it a down year on the West Coast, and they just decided that they wanted to go?
Either that, or Sean Miller's been watching international soccer and he wanted to go visit.
Maybe it was an easier. Get.
So, we don't know if these two things correlate, but we just heard Aaron Torres, who covers obviously the Pac-12, being based in Los Angeles, and is a national guy for Fox Sports Radio. He said there was American players that were scared to sign with Arizona because they didn't know. They didn't know if they were going to be able to play in the postseason. So they go get guys from Lithuania and France and Mexico to fill their roster.
And listen, that's pretty good evidence. That's kind of an old Dale Brown, since we brought that name up, when he would go and get players from overseas. I can't tell you that it didn't affect it at all. Obviously, there's something to that. I just didn't think it had affected it as much. Some of the other schools seem to have gotten through with it pretty well. But
And I completely do understand what you're saying, because you look at LSU, they're number 6. You look at Arizona, they're number 5. But I think if you get affected in any way because of what the NCAA is holding over your head, it's noteworthy.
Wait. That class is ranked number 5?
Arizona, yeah.
Number 5 in the country?
Yeah, they have 7 commitments, so your numbers are going to go.
Okay, well,
No, but listen, there's only 2 teams in the top 10 that don't have a 5-star signed, and they're one of them. LSU has 1. The teams ahead of them have 2. Duke has 4. Carolina has 3. Auburn has 1. Arizona State has 1, and Arizona doesn't.
Well, so he didn't go all the way to Estonia to get some scrub. I mean, because he had to fill out the roster.
No, I didn't say that, but it affected their recruiting, though, because they had to change their footprint. They had to do something different. I'm not saying it's completely hampering these teams, but if you miss out on one recruit, that is, to me, that is affecting what you're doing. If you miss out on Musa Cisse and he ends up being a first-team All-American,
I can't tell you
it's
that
still
you're
a nice class.
There.
That's not. That's just the coaches still busting their ass to get the best players they possibly can. So I just think that the NCAA takes so long, and they hold this over your head for so long, and it's not only in basketball, but it's all sports, and they put a cloud over your program where you've got to do extra. You've got to do extra to try to recruit against the NCAA, and it shouldn't be like that.
You ever been to Estonia?
I have not. Here it's great this time of year.
I'll send Playboy Marty on a trip. Come back with a report on how things are in Estonia.
I could not tell you exactly where that's located, and 9 times out of 10, because of my love for soccer, I can tell you where things are. That's not one I can tell you.
Saints back on the practice field. Sean Payton, Talk a little bit about the importance of some of these scrimmages with no preseason games.
Yeah, look, we're going to have some scrimmage settings out here in the grass as well. I think twofold. Getting accustomed to the new surface that's put down, the lighting, some of those things, and obviously we talked about this at the onset. Each one of these days we're outside practicing is that important because there are no preseason games, and yeah, we plan on having a scrimmage environment there. One of the afternoons we plan on scrimmaging out here, this week. So all of these practices are extremely important for guys fighting for roster spots.
Did you ever, in your training camp experience, go good on good, full scrimmage?
No.
I didn't think so.
No, I mean, I tried to goal line, but even like in that period.
Situationals, maybe.
Yeah, but I mean, you're from the 3-yard line, and obviously the receivers aren't involved in that. It's just tight ends and fullbacks where we're meatheads anyway, and we're just going, to hit the linebackers or whatever. We would do that, but it wouldn't be a lot. And you'd get about 3 plays for the starters, and then it'd be the twos would come in, and they'd get probably 7. They'd get a bulk of those. I never went live to the ground, moved the football, not even a 2-minute situation, not a scripted situation, like never. Like college football, you'll do that because you don't have the preseason games, but never in my NFL career was a guy tackled in the open field. It was all goal line situation.
Things are different. The game between Cesar Ruiz and Eric McCoy, the battle, continues for those two guys, and Peyton touched on that.
Yeah, look, it's kind of gone the way we had hoped. We're constantly here looking at moving a few guys around. He's handled the center position. Obviously, he's played it with a lot of reps in college, and just as important, Eric's handling the guard snaps. So we'll keep looking at both of those combinations and hopefully settle into one that we're going to lean more towards before we start the year.
I wondered how Ruiz himself felt about this, and he did opine as to which position he prefers.
No, I don't have a preference, really. Just really trying to learn all positions really throughout the interior. So really just going back and forth between everything and learn as much as I can right now. Don't really have a preference, though.
His opinion was that he has no preference.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird dynamic. And
by the way, I don't believe him. I think he has a preference that he doesn't want to voice publicly. I mean, in his head, he's probably got a preference. That's okay. That's one of those little.
I didn't mind playing fullback. I also like toting the rock.
That's what you say publicly. Yeah. I'll do whatever. I think in his mind, he's probably got a preference, though.
It's just a weird dynamic because I think they're both really good football players. I truly do, and I think they're both going to work out well in the NFL. It's just kind of the back and forth and maybe why you're moving McCoy from center to guard or why you're trying to see which one plays center the best, because you have two really good players, and I just think the carousel after a while is going to need to stop. It's going to need to go ahead and submit itself to, hey, you're our center, hey, you're our right guard, and we're going to move forward, because it's just McCoy played really well as a rookie. I mean, he's a well-respected center, and there's something that they felt that they went and drafted Ruiz to be the guy, because it feels like they want him to take over the center position. They want McCoy to move the guard. There's something that they felt like they were missing there. So it's a weird dynamic.
And an interesting budding relationship between the two players who are, I wouldn't call it a training camp competition. I think we all know that they're both going to start. It's which one is going to be where. Ruiz touched on his relationship with his new teammate.
I think most people know that I contacted Eric when I was combine training. And, it was good to build that relationship early. And just coincidence that now we're teammates. So the chemistry was previously there. So it's good to have somebody that, gave me advice going into this part of my life with me right now. So definitely good.
Haven't really heard from McCoy yet all that much about it. I suspect his public comments will be probably pretty similar to what Ruiz is, which is, yeah, I'll play either. I'm good. But you do have to figure he had settled in pretty good at center. Like, man, you drafted me to be a center. I came in, I played really well, and now I got to move. Yeah, just I'm speculating a little bit here.
And the center position is one. It's got a lot of moving parts in the NFL. This isn't this isn't like high school or college football where the quarterback does everything and the center just, basically says, okay, let's go with that. No, the center has a lot to say in the NFL. Even if you're with a Drew Brees, and I forget who I was listening to that said, that's fine, Drew Brees will make all the calls. No, he won't. He'll make some, and if there's something that he wants to change, he'll do that, but it doesn't happen very often. The center is in control of where the line is going because he knows the strengths, he knows the weaknesses, he knows what he's watching on film. So if he wants to put the Mike declaration here for the back to pick up this player instead of that player, it's on the center. It starts with the center. Very few times does the quarterback change what the center wants to do. Now, there will be times where he goes, no, go over here, let's go over here. And Phillip used to do it some because he'd be like, I don't really want the back on this guy, so let's change it. But the center has a lot of say in where the protection is set.
It's almost like you have a copy of my shot sheet or something like that because Ruiz did talk about playing with Drew Brees.
I mean, yeah, it's great to work with, of course, a quarterback like, especially Drew himself. You can't even say a quarterback like Drew. It's just great to work with Drew. He's been playing the game. He's been in the league before I could talk, so he knows a lot. He's given me a lot of advice. Just having somebody in there that just knows what's going on at all times is great.
So like walking on the practice field for the first time with a Hall of Famer, because there were a couple that when you first got in the league that were on that team, you walk in and say, man, I'm practicing that dude today?
The first time I walked on a field.
Where was LT?
And I had LT's cleats on, his custom LT cleats that Nike had just dropped that year. And it's like, man, I'm blocking for that guy. God, I don't want to disappoint him. Right. It's that kind of feeling. Like it's almost like he's a father figure, and you're like, oh, I don't want to disappoint Dad. I mean, LT was one of the greatest running backs to ever do it. He's in the top 5 running backs of all time, and so yeah, you get that. It's not even starstruck. It's just like respect from the get-go. It's like, I do not want to disappoint this human being.
Take a break. We are scheduled to be joined by Central Arkansas AD Brad Teague. This is Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny. Off the Bench, Hangin' with Hester and Hanny, after further review and more, are all live daily on the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge YouTube channel. Subscribe now to interact with us inside the live chat driven by Bayou Ford.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Prompt, professional, reliable. If you're looking for a breath of fresh air with your AC and heating needs, call the professionals at Anison Bitter. Anison Bitter, a Rheem Pro partner, keeping your family comfortable for over 25 years.
At Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, you can get into a new Highlander for $4,000 off MSRP. Yes, $4,000 off MSRP, and we have many in stock. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corvell Toyota in Opelousas. Happy Town, USA.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Do you know the proper way to prevent the spread of COVID-19 in your office? We do. We're Janny King, a leader in the cleaning industry for over 30 years, and we've developed comprehensive programs to address proper cleaning and disinfection. We have experience in applying disinfecting programs in hospitals, office buildings, schools, and other venues. Now we're ready to help and able to assist customers that need disinfecting services.
Janny King, the king of clean.
Tune into a Thursday edition of Game Time with Jimmy Ott. We're live from Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, weather permitting. We'll be there from 6 to 8 p.m., so come eat some delicious char-grilled oysters or tune in here at 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Pleased to be joined now by Central Arkansas Athletic Director Brad Teague. The Bears open up their season on Saturday against Austin Peay. That game will be in Montgomery. Brad, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. Absolutely. Appreciate you having me on.
We have sort of marveled from afar. We'll cop to it that we don't know a whole lot about the history of Central Arkansas football, but when everything was canceled and you were given the assignment or the challenge of putting together a football schedule and managing to do so to the tune of 9 games, what was your original mindset of how can we do this?
You know, so I went and talked to our football team just to make sure they were in. You know, I wanted to make sure they wanted to play, they were motivated to play, and nobody was opting out, and 100%. Everybody wanted to play football this fall. They didn't want to wait. So that really gave me the motivation to move forward and try to get a schedule. You know, at first we thought our conference would hang in there. I really thought if the SEC and the Big 12 were playing, which is obviously our footprint, then we ought to play too. And then, you know, it's just issues with testing, issues with having access to that testing, getting results in time. Some just couldn't do it. So we could, and I thought, you know, we need to keep moving forward as long as we can until the virus tells us we can't. And, you know, so far so good. We're ready to play Saturday.
And a very unique schedule. You mentioned it. You're playing Saturday against Austin Peay in Montgomery, and then a couple of days later you're driving down to Birmingham and you're going to play UAB. So in college football, Brad, we don't see that very often. We don't see a game on a Saturday and then play again on a Thursday. We would do it some in the NFL, and it's a little bit of a grind, but it sounds like your players and coaching staffs were up for this, and also UAB was very hospitable.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It worked out, and you know, it's a unique year, so we just talking to our head coach, you know, we were like, man, we better play when we can play, and if that means, you know, our first 2 games are 5 days apart, let's get it done. And now it works out that we're going to play the 2 games before anybody else plays 1 this year. So that's exciting as well. Yeah, and it's a unique trip. So we're going to head down to Montgomery tomorrow, and we will spend 1 night in Montgomery, play the game, and then head to Birmingham and stay 5 nights in Birmingham. And we'll do all our testing protocols with UAB at their facility, and practiced at Legion Field all week, which will be a great experience for our young men. So excited about that.
Brad Teague is the athletic director at Central Arkansas. Brad, did you get significant pushback from any segment of your university, your president, your chancellors, your parents? Was there any significant pushback when you said we think we can put together a full schedule?
Yeah, it's a great question, because if you don't have your president behind you, it doesn't work. You know, you can see that in the Big Ten. All the ADs wanted to play. The majority of the presidents did not, and they're not playing. So fortunately, we've got a president who has done great things for our institution. You know, we're back on campus as a student body. We've got 11,000 students. He's got a whole residence hall ready for quarantining if needed. And, you know, it's just his mindset has been, let's forge ahead as an institution. And he's certainly behind, you know, our athletic programs as well. And I'll tell you, we're still going to play volleyball and men's and women's soccer and cross country this fall as well. We just want to do all our fall sports in the fall.
Something else that I found very unique about this schedule, and you're right, it has been a unique year, but y'all have done a great job of finding games. You've got home and homes with Missouri State and Eastern Kentucky. Again, something we don't typically see in college football, but it's done at other levels of football. So how did those games kind of come together?
You know, as soon as we were seeing conferences, you know, push to the spring, I was just reaching out to contacts. Certainly Missouri State's a 3.5-hour drive for us. So that's a great proximity game. And the issue is everybody wants home games, right? So we could have played 11 road games and gotten paid for every one of them. I mean, the whole Sun Belt Conference and the whole Conference USA were looking for games once the SEC and the Big 12 basically went to a conference only. So we had a lot of opportunities in the FBS. The issue was, who can we play in the FCS? Because there's only 14 teams playing right now that will play this fall, and we're the only one with 9 games, of course. So just reached out to colleagues, you know, in the industry and said, hey, I know you need a home game, I need a home game. Let's just play twice. And those two schools agreed. So, yeah, it is unique.
Brad Teague, the athletic director at Central Arkansas, is our guest. Brad, did you have, upon the return of your team to campus, any spikes in the testing? I'm wondering what hurdles you had to overcome to get a team that was completely tested and completely ready to go from the time they got to campus to what will be this Saturday.
Yeah, if you'll recall, you know, the NCAA was putting out new guidance every week, you know, and so I'm thinking back to May, and we got the guidance in May that allowed us and allowed all NCAA programs to have voluntary workouts in June. Well, we got that information about a week before, you know, at the end of May. So we were not ready June 1 to bring everybody back. And so got with our medical team and our athletic trainers, and we thought we could have everything ready to go by June 15th. So we allowed any of our football players who lived in the Conway area to come back June 15th for voluntary workouts. Ended up being about 40. So as soon as any student athlete arrived on campus, regardless of sport they played, we did a gateway test. And so you had to produce a negative result before you could come on campus. And so from those initial gateway tests in June and early July, we had 5 positives. They were all asymptomatic, so they had to actually do just a 10-day isolation. So our medical professionals and Department of Health tell us that asymptomatic folks are 10 days, symptomatic folks are 14 days. So those 5 did their 10 days and got reacclimated and back in the swing. And then once August hit, we started doing the requirement of weekly testing. And so we've tested throughout August. In fact, today got our results for this week, and we have had a total of 3 positive asymptomatic kids, and they're all non-travel squad folks. So typically freshman walk-ons. So far, so good.
Brad Teague, the AD over at Central Arkansas, is our guest here on Hangin with Hester and Hanny. Something else that I know is going to be really special is to be able to not only kick off against Austin Peay, but to be on ESPN, to be on the main ESPN, to be the only ticket in town with all these eyeballs on your game. I know the walk-ons down there in Conway is probably going to be filled as much as it can to be able to watch that game. I know it's got to be special to be on ESPN.
No, it's incredible for our brand and for our recognition. And, you know, any FCS program looks to find something like this, and you just don't ever get it. So, you know, initially we were one of a handful of teams. You know, you had Notre Dame versus Navy in Ireland. They were going to play a week 0 game. And then you had Marshall and East Carolina were going to play a game because it was the 50th anniversary of the plane crash. So, you know, there had to be a compelling reason to be able to have a waiver to play week 0. And then the FCS gets the opportunity to play week 0 if they have a kickoff classic, and that's what this is. So, you know, we had a handful of games, and then all of a sudden you had the COVID issue, and everybody was asking for waivers to play week 0, just spread out their season a little better, just in case they needed flexibility to have some weeks off. And so we went from a handful of games to probably 25 games, and I was pretty bummed out about it. And then now all of a sudden, all the conferences canceling or moving back later in September for start dates. We are the only game. We are the first football game of the year, the first since COVID, and the only game that day. And we're on ESPN, linear channel, regular channel, the main channel at 8 p.m. Saturday night. We're pumped.
Brad, I don't know an athletic director in the country that hasn't had to deal with the financial ramifications of COVID-19. I'm guessing that with a unique schedule, you had some unique challenges. What were the most significant ones financially, and how did you solve those?
Well, we're playing 7 road games, which is unusual. We only have 2 at home. So we've got more travel expenses, and then we lost Missouri was our guarantee. We play one guarantee game a year. Missouri was this year, and that was about $450,000 of revenue that we will lose. It just so happens that with the 3 FBS games, we've got UAB is $200,000, Arkansas State's $100,000, and Louisiana Lafayette is $150,000. So we really net zero there. We got that $450,000 back. So that made our budget office really happy. But the challenge is really again the testing. So we're testing. When we do gateway testing of the other sports, the spring sports who have come in this week. And then we're testing all of our fall student athletes every week. So we're testing somewhere between 250 and 300 student athletes a week, plus staff and coaches. At $100 a test, that gets expensive real quick. So we're doing $25,000 to $30,000 a week in testing. And so luckily we have a great partnership with our local hospital who have given us discounts on testing, and then we also have donors who have stepped up to make sure that we can get it done so we can play. So I would tell you, for the FCS, we're probably doing as much testing as anyone in this country. However, the Big 12 and the Conference USA is now testing 3 times a week. I think they're doing a PCR test and then a couple of antigen tests each week. So we're doing 1 PCR test per week and making sure it's within 72 hours of the contest. So we're doing everything we can.
Central Arkansas football is not only a great story because you're finding a way to get to that yes to play football games, but also I want to let you know that we crowned you the 2019 Arkansas State champions last year because y'all took care of Western Kentucky and Arkansas was not able to do so. And so just to let you know, and by the way, my mom has spent some time growing up in Conway, so I already had a love for the school, but we gave y'all the state crown.
Well, we appreciate that. I'd forgotten that Arkansas lost to Western Kentucky. I appreciate you reminding me of that. No, that was a lot of fun, and hopefully you'll give us the 2020 as well.
There you go.
Brad Teague, you got some fans down here in Baton Rouge. Don't mind telling you, we're so impressed what you did. We're gonna be Bear fans this year, and you can bet you we're gonna be watching on Saturday. Thank you so much for your time. Best of luck to you and your school moving forward.
Hey, I appreciate you guys, and let's give a shout out to Lake Charles and our McNeese State family down there, and praying for them.
Yeah, thank you very much, Brad Teague,
Thank y'all.
Central Arkansas athletic director. That guy could work for my school.
I was about to say
that guy could work for my school, man.
Everything that he was talking about was moving forward and not, looking back and just trying to get to some positive news. And he had an answer for everything. Whenever a problem came up, he's like, okay, let's access it and let's go ahead and let's move to how we're going to fix it. That was highly impressive. I'm glad he was able to join us.
Yeah, that was that put me in a good mood. I ain't gonna lie, man. There's been a bunch of stuff that has been weighing on us this week. I mean, very serious issues. That pumped me up. I'm a Brad Teague fan, man. Take a break. We'll be back with more Hanging with Hester and Hanny. We're brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
Before you pick up a shovel to make any improvements on your property, pick up a phone and call 811. It's simple to do, it's free of charge, and it's the law. But not only that, it's going to keep you out of all of those problems that will occur if you hit an underground line that's buried very shallow, a water line, a communication line, a power line. You could cause yourself serious injury. You could cause power outages for yourself or your neighbors. So don't do that. Call 811. It only takes 2 days.
You're exactly right, Hanny, and we can't tell you how easy this process is. It's easy to pick up the phone. It's easy to dial 811. Well, it's easy for them to come out and to mark where you are digging. They're going to color code every single thing. So it's a very easy process, and it's free. So it's not going to cost you anything. You only have to give them 2 days notice, right? It doesn't matter how big. It doesn't matter how small the project is. It can be putting in a pool. It can be putting in a swing set. Make sure you take full advantage of this free service. Call 811 before you dig.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business.
I'd make it available in dozens. Make that thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
Get an eye out for danger. If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
When you want the best of Louisiana, you don't go to a superstore. We know what we like, and we like it local. Same goes for banking. As one of Louisiana's largest local banks, we offer homegrown services crafted around you. Gulf Coast Bank, the bank that cares about you.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on it.
Coming up on Friday's Off the Bench. Recap the latest from Saints camp. It's a black and gold scrimmage at pads. How LSU football continues to navigate the recent outbreak. And a casual Friday tier list. That's right. We're ranking breakfast cereals. Off the Bench. 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
And we're brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Thank you for being with us this afternoon. We had something that sparked a little debate between Jacob and I, which was the Hall of Famers that he had played with, and we started counting them up. And LaDainian Tomlinson is there, and Antonio Gates will be there.
Peyton Manning.
And Peyton Manning, of course.
Champ Bailey.
And Champ Bailey when he was with Denver. And we think that Phillip Rivers will get it. We got into a little bit of a debate about Darren Sproles. You believe that Sproles has got a case to be in the Hall of Fame. Make your case.
So you said the other day that Earl Thomas was a borderline Hall of Famer. And the go-to thing that you kept saying was he's on the all-decade team, and that means something.
He is. Yeah.
Okay, well, Darren Sproles was also on the all-decade team.
Okay.
Darren Sproles has over 19,000 total yards in his career, 64 touchdowns, including 9 return touchdowns. He has the most all-purpose yards in a season with 2,696. Darren Sproles created a position that other teams have tried to copy. I mean, he is, in my opinion, the best third down back in NFL history. And Saints fans know what his loss meant to them. San Diego Charger fans know what his loss meant to them. And they tried to replace him with other guys, and it cannot be done because he was so unique in what he did and his abilities. And he did it for so long at such a high level. He did it not only running the football, he had over 3,000 yards rushing. He also did it receiving the football with over 4,000 yards, receiving almost 5,000 yards. And then, of course, he had his 11,000-plus return yards. This was a guy that was a game changer, and he was the best at what he did for a decade. And for me, that puts you in the Hall of Fame. He's got the most combined total return yards in a 2-game playoff span, most all-purpose yards in a single season. We mentioned that one in 2011. He's got the most career kickoff return yards for the Chargers, most all-purpose yards in a season for any Saints player, also most career punt return touchdowns for any Eagles player. So he did it not only for one team, not for 2 teams, but he did it for 3 teams. And if Earl Thomas is anywhere close to the Hall of Fame, Darren Sproles should be as well.
Okay. I think it's I'm not crazy about the comparison to Thomas because they play completely different positions. So I'm not sure that
I'm not going off your metric.
No, well, but
all decade
but
team.
They're different metrics though, aren't they?
Oh, they're different.
Well, if you got a running back versus a safety, I think that's quite different. Okay. All right, here's my case against, and I could really stop right here, but the total yards thing, which is an unbelievable statistic, he's 4,000 yards behind Brian Mitchell in total career yards, and Mitchell never got close to the Hall of Fame. Good as he was, and he's a local kid, so we've known him forever. Mitchell, 23,000 total yards, and Mitchell's never even made the finals. 55 touchdowns does not put you in the top 60.
You got 64.
I'm sorry, 64 does not put you in the top 60.
Don't forget those special teams touchdowns.
Okay, I apologize.
The phase of the game
does not put you in the top 60 in all-time touchdowns. The 3,650 yards puts him 270th on the all-time.
He's not going in as a running back.
No, I'm giving you all of the. I'm making all facets of my argument. I mean, your rushing yards put you behind Justin Forsett and Randy McMillan. Okay, I'm not saying that Sproles wasn't great. I loved him. I loved him at his time in New Orleans, and he did a lot of things well. But I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. I don't think
he's the best at what he did for over a decade.
So was Brian Mitchell, and he didn't.
Okay, maybe Brian should be in the Hall of Fame.
Well, okay.
Lynn Swann barely had more receiving yards than Darren Sproles.
Lynn Swann, if you take his raw statistics, would not be close to the Hall of Fame. He did it in the Super Bowl. He made the biggest plays in 2 separate Super Bowls. Really 3, if you want to. Go watch Super Bowl 10. He made the best catch you'll ever see in your life. It won him the game. Go look at Super Bowl 13. He made one of the best catches you'll ever see. It put the game away for Pittsburgh. And in Super Bowl 14, he scored the touchdown over 2 defenders that gave them the lead over the Rams for the first time in the second half. Swann's raw statistics don't get him anywhere close. Those 3 games put Lynn Swann in the Hall of Fame, and I'll argue that with anybody. I think Sproles belongs in the Hall of Very Good. I mean, I don't think he gets in. Okay,
he was the best third down back in the NFL for his time.
He was. I'm not arguing that at all.
When he left the Chargers and when he left the Saints, both teams felt that, and both teams made it public knowledge that they felt the loss of Darren Sproles. And then you throw in what he did in the return game. Now remember he wasn't given the opportunity to play as much running back, but when he was, he shined. He was behind LaDainian Tomlinson in San Diego. Obviously, he was behind Mark Ingram in New Orleans. This is a guy that, I mean, he had some playoff moments as well. Won a Super Bowl as well.
Mm-hmm. There are other backs that have put up similar numbers to and I agree with you that Sproles is overall the total yards argument is the best one. Okay, there are other players that put up similar numbers that are not in the Hall of Fame, and they use comps a lot. I gave you Brian Mitchell. Let me give you another one. Eric Metcalf is within 1,800 yards of what Sproles did in his career, and Metcalf, who was a terrific player, didn't get close.
But you're talking about mostly kick return and punt return yards. Like, so for Brian Mitchell, Sproles had 1,600 more rushing yards. He had, 2,500 more receiving yards than Brian Mitchell. So most of his, and that's what it's the totality of what Sproles did and how he was a runner, a receiver, and a kick returner at a very high level.
Let me give you Tiki Barber, whose numbers are also very, very similar total to what we're talking about with Sproles, who is also not in the Hall of Fame. Herschel Walker, total yards, really close, not in the Hall of Fame. Now, maybe Walker should be because of what he did in the USFL. He's kind of a special case. But the comps to what Sproles did are not in the Hall. I don't think he gets in. I think he's a great player.
Tiki Barber was never the best at what he did in the NFL. Darren Sproles was.
Okay, but Tiki Barber was an every down back at.
Okay, we're not talking about going in as a running back. We're talking about going in as an all-purpose player.
You're talking about a specialty position and being the absolute best at it. Let me ask you.
And his third down back.
Okay, it's a specialty position. It is not an every down position. That by definition is specialty, right? What do you? There are some people that believe that Steve Tasker belongs in the Hall of Fame because he was the best special teams
War
player.
Daddy's what he was.
Okay, yeah. There are people that think that Steve Tasker belongs in the Hall of Fame, and I'll listen to that argument. He was the absolute best at what he did, but what he did was a specialty. It wasn't an every down thing, and because of that, Tasker's not in the Hall of Fame. Probably won't get in. I think he's a fascinating argument. I think Sproles is an interesting argument. I'm not going to tell you it'll never happen. I'm telling you I don't think he will get in.
He's also one of the 50 best players in San Diego Chargers history, and just throwing another. He was on the anniversary team. Just throwing another one your way, Hanny.
That's which is also awesome. Look, there's plenty of things to like on Darren Sproles' resume. I just don't think it gets him in the Hall.
But I want to ask you this because the Earl Thomas kind of started. We were talking about how many Hall of Famers I was fortunate enough to play with. What makes you think Earl Thomas is a fringe Hall of Famer and Darren Sproles is not? Because the All-Decade team was the thing that you kept saying.
Well, he's been in the league for 10 years, and he's been a Pro Bowler 8 of those years, okay? And he was on 2 Super Bowl teams, and he was a Super Bowl champion once. You look at, again, the metrics are very, very different when you're talking about running backs who use raw numbers a whole lot more with the running backs than you do with safeties as far as total tackles. Budda Baker just got the highest contract per year in NFL history for a safety and ain't ever intercepted a pass in his life. That blew my mind, by the way. Earl Thomas has been considered one of the top, say, 4 players at his position 8 years out of 10 in the NFL. And that put him on the all-decade team, and I think that goes a long way. And Earl Thomas was an every-down player. That's my argument for. And by the way, I'm not certain that Earl Thomas gets in the Hall of Fame. I think it's close. I think he's got a better chance than Sproles does.
There for a while, we were doing a poll question every day on all of our local shows here. It's been a minute. I think we should bring it back.
Yeah?
I think so. For the next hour and 17 minutes, we should have it up. Poll question of the day. Is Darren Sproles a Hall of Famer?
Is he in or is he out?
We should leave it up to the listeners.
Well, they can vote. I need to be convinced some other way. I need to be there's something else that you got to give me.
And obviously, you're entitled to your opinion, but when we would talk about Hall of Famers in the NFL locker rooms, we would define it as the person who was the best player at his position for a long period of time. Mm-hmm. And I don't think there was a better third down running back and I know it's a specialty position, than Darren Sproles was. For a long time, I don't think there was a better punt returner than Darren Sproles was. Now, my cousin Devin, you could say kickoff returner, but there's 2 positions that he would be in the argument for the best over a long period of time. We're talking about 5+ years.
Put it on a poll, Guillermo. Let's see. Let's see what the listeners think. I think he's a great player. I don't think he's in the Hall. Take a break. We'll be back.
Haters hate.
I'm not. See,
haters hate.
See, now you're taking the Jimmy Ott thing. You're painting me because I don't think he's in the Hall of Fame. Doesn't mean I don't think he's a great
quick,
player.
Before we take a break, we got 3 people in this studio: Cade, Playboy, Paul.
You've heard the arguments. You want to play jury at this point?
Just do it. Just raise your hand if you think Darren Sproles deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Okay, 2 out of 3. 3 out of 2 in the room.
You're just influencing people.
That's what we were doing. We were giving them
people.
our arguments.
Let's see what the listeners think.
Okay.
We'll buy you for a chat. YouTube. Take a break. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
All right, we're brought to you every single day by our title sponsor, Richards Honda. We've been telling you over the last week or so they are actually hiring over at Richards Honda. So make sure you go to richardshonda.com and check all of those details out. By the way, while you're there, you can do it all in the bottom left corner of the website. You've got 4 days, 10 hours, and 13 minutes left to save in their current offers. Over there in the bottom right corner of the website, if you've got a question, well, they can answer it right there on the spot with their chat. Don't forget, you can schedule service on the website. So when you pull up to the state-of-the-art service center over at 13413 Millaville Greens Boulevard in Baton Rouge, they are ready for you. You can always order parts and accessories as well. But while you're over at I-12 and Millaville, check out the full fleet they've got over there at Richards Honda. They've got over 700 new and pre-owned vehicles that are ready to be moved. Cars, hybrids, midsize and full-size SUVs, vans, trucks, you name it, they've got it over at Richards Honda. And as always, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
$10,000 off MSRP on a new 2020 Ford F-150. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. And with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Divorce is hard. Divorce is messy. Divorce is exhausting. The law offices of O.C. Brown walked me through my divorce and helped me find the right solution for me, my kids, my finances, and my property.
Call the law offices of O.C. Brown, your law firm for a lifetime.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big V and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station. 100.7 The Tiger.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Thursday's AFR presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Tigers and Saints on the practice field. We'll talk about all of it with Mike Detillier. Join us Thursday, 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
We're brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Let me run a few more stats on Sproles. And by the way, I think this is close. It's probably a little bit closer than what I had originally thought. I still don't think he gets in. You think he does. I think it's close. It will probably be one of these things that is going to hang for a while because he just retired. So he's 5 years away from even being eligible. And I don't think he's going to be a first ballot guy. So we will probably be we will probably revisit this topic from time to time. But I just want to you're talking about his 9 punt and kick returns for touchdown are tied for 6th in NFL history. He led the NFL in punt return average once. He led the NFL in punt returns for touchdowns twice. Here's the stats I like that actually make the case for him a little bit better. He doesn't have the raw rushing yards, but what he does have is a 4.9 yard average. That's 15th in NFL history for backs with at least 500 carries. 547 catches is 12th most in NFL history by a running back, and it's just 19 out of the top 10 overall. So when you look at production per carry, that is certainly there. And you look at the raw numbers in the number of catches that he has. There's 17 running backs. There's 17 running backs in NFL history with 500 catches, and he's 12th. His rushing average is the second highest of all of those backs that we're talking about. So now we're talking about all-purpose backs. That rushing average is behind Bobby Mitchell, who is a Hall of Famer. So it's again
So you're saying there's a chance?
Oh yeah, there's definitely a chance. I don't want to make it out like I think he's got no chance. I just think that he probably will come up a little bit
it's
short.
fine. You were hating on Kansas and Les Miles last week. This week it's Kansas State and Darren Sproles. Apparently you don't like the state of Kansas.
I'm going to give you this.
That's
all right,
what
so
I found out.
This was the funniest out of the Bayou Ford chat was Sproles should be in the College Football Hall of Fame for sure because he just scored in Oklahoma again. Okay, so that game helped us out.
But seriously, Ken Trahan coming up at 2:15. He's obviously a big part of the Saints Hall of Fame. He'll be probably a good mediator.
Right, because he considers Hall of Fame candidacies all the time.
Yeah.
You gotta look at it from a whole perspective. Where do they vote, Guillermo? Okay, that's you. Where do they?
I'll give you an update. I'm looking at it. With 50 votes so far, it's 40% yes, 60% no.
Okay, so where do you go to vote? Which page are we voting on?
It's at Hangin on 104.5.
Okay, so we're voting at the Hangin page.
I retweeted
okay.
if you just want to go to my Twitter and check it out. But we'd encourage you to go ahead and vote, but also follow the at Hangin on 104.5 on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
You said like you're not. You got the people got to follow it.
No, absolutely.
Okay.
I'm with you. I was on.
I mean, you just like threw it to the side. I mean, I know we don't give all 97 platforms like somebody else does, but we got a couple we'll give out.
Actually, I was just trying to get my timing down. I was trying to get my promo in before the break. Trying to drive here. Kenny Trahan in hour number 3. He'll be with us. He's got some thoughts on the Pelicans job as well, which took a little bit of a turn this week with the Sixers job coming open and unexpectedly Indiana's job coming open. So
I know, I felt a lot better about it when it seemed like it was going to be which job was better, New Jersey Nets, Brooklyn Nets, or the Pelicans. But yeah, you add the Pacers, you add the Sixers in there. That's 2 playoff teams already to the addition of the Nets being
all 3 of those teams right now are better than the Pelicans. It's do you want to look long term? that might be a better situation.
Can we agree that it's going to be the New Jersey Nets and the San Diego Chargers on this show? Because I will never get those two right.
Sure. Absolutely. Trying to the Chargers I think will always be the hardest one for me. For whatever reason, I picked up Las Vegas Raiders really quick. Maybe it's just because I like Las Vegas. But I was always
maybe because we don't like I don't like the Oakland Raiders, and I'm okay with change.
See, I grew up watching the Raiders more than most. My best friend was a Raider fan, so the late we watched Saints game early, Raiders game late when it was on in this market. So I did grow up Oakland Raiders, and the first Super Bowl I ever went to, Oakland Raiders won it, but I picked up Las Vegas Raiders.
And I'm sure it was very difficult when Baltimore moved to Indianapolis. I'm sure that took a long time because Baltimore Colts had already a pretty strong history at the time.
St. Louis Rams and Arizona Cardinals, which was the Phoenix Cardinals, those took a long time. Looked pretty weird. Take a break, come back after our top of the hour break, hour number 3, hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Prompt, professional, reliable. If you're looking for a breath of fresh air with your AC and heating needs, call the professionals at Annis & Bitter. Annis & Bitter, a Rheem Pro partner, keeping your family comfortable for over 25 years.
This is big. Really big. I mean really, really, really big. Because Honda's summer clearance event is going on right now at Richards Honda. With 0 to the 4th power on brand new Honda Civics. That's 0 down, 0 due at signing, 0 security deposit, and 0 first month payment. Plus, summer clearance on every new vehicle in stock. Just another reason why people call Richards Honda the smart choice. I-12 at Millerville Road and richardshonda.com.
ServiceMASTER Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMASTER Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMASTER Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Hi, this is Chance Inman, President and Chief Operating Officer for Hanny Gulf Coast. Here are some ways to protect yourself and those around you from the coronavirus. Wash your hands often and thoroughly. Cover coughs and sneezes with your elbow. Disinfect high-touch surfaces regularly. Use non-contact methods for greeting others. And avoid touching your face. Following these steps, as well as social distancing, should help all of us stay healthy.
The king of clean.
Trahan Injury Lawyers.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. NBA players have decided to resume the playoffs, according to ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski. Today's games have been postponed. Talks are ongoing about the timing of resumption of the games. Expectations is that they will return on Saturday. The NBA postponed yesterday's games after the Bucks refused to take the floor to protest the police shooting of Jacob Blake, a black man in Wisconsin. There is one important topic players and owners continue to discuss, explains Woj.
Looking at ways to address concerns of the players about maximizing the players' presence in the bubble on social justice issues.
Adrian Wojnarowski on Greeny with Mike Greenberg. Vice President Mike Pence's chief of staff told CNN the NBA protests over the shooting of Blake are absurd and silly. White House senior advisor Jared Kushner told CNBC players were very fortunate to be in a financial position to take a night off from work. The NHL and WNBA have postponed their games tonight in solidarity of the protests of the shooting of Blake. For the latest developments, stay tuned to ESPN Radio throughout the day. Tune into the 6 Eastern Sports Center on ESPN TV.
Cover all your bases with Straight Talk Wireless. Get the same networks as big carriers, only pay up to 50% less. Get the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data, then 2G for just $45 a month. Only at Walmart. Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Now, Hangin with Hester and Hanny with Jacob Hester and Charles Hanagriff. Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger. Alongside Jacob Hester, here's Charles Hanagriff.
Hour number 3, Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Hang in there, Shreveport, as Hurricane Laura has continued to move northward here through the afternoon. If you're watching with us on CST or on our YouTube channel, 104.5 ESPN, Hanging with Hester and Hanny YouTube page as well for prior interviews. If you missed it, man, go back and check out Brad Teague. You're going to like that. The AD from Central Arkansas.
Really sharp.
That's
really
a good one.
that.
Any doubt he's going to be if I'm looking for an AD anytime in the future, man, I'm calling that guy. If I'm an SEC school and I'm looking for an AD, I'm calling that guy.
Yeah, I don't look. I'm sure Central Arkansas wants to do everything they can to hold on to Brad Teague.
Sure.
But that was incredibly sharp, and he had answers for every question, not only in our interview, but throughout this entire process.
Yeah.
He was finding a way to get his team out there on the field and doing it in a safe manner as well.
You got to so a lot of people have weighed in on this Darren Sproles. You never know you never know when a secondary topic's going to take off. We didn't plan to do that today. Just kind of found its way into the show, and it's kind of taken on a life of its own here.
Yeah, which is always fun. And right now, you're still leading the vote, by the way, 60 to 40%. We've got almost 300 votes. But Brad Wing, of course, the very talented punter, LSU, longtime NFL player, he quote tweeted the vote, said, "Y'all didn't have to punt to the MF. Trust me, he deserves a gold jacket."
And I completely respect that. Sproles scared you every time.
I was about to say, you know what that comes from?
What?
That comes from a special teams coach saying, if you punt to number 43,
right.
you're getting cut.
Yeah.
Right? If you punt anywhere close to there's so many guys. There's a handful of guys that every time you face them, the special teams coach would say it 1,000 times. It was Devin Hester, it was Darren Sproles, it was Deshaun Jackson. That's the ones that just they stick out in my brain. It's like, we would rather take a 37-yard punt that goes out of bounds than a 57-yard punt that he catches.
Because he's going to bring it back, and he's going to bring it back to the 37 yards more often than not.
Now, he made me look so foolish one time.
Well, he had great acceleration. He had unbelievable balance, and he had much better speed than you would expect from somebody that was 5'6".
Yep.
So all of those things. But I would ask Wing if he were here. How many times did you try to angle a 37-yard punt or a 40-yard punt out of bounds? Did you end up shanking it and end up going 26 yards or something like that?
Change the game.
Because it's in your head. Yeah, it's a complete field position flipper on that. And when Sproles was with the Saints, I found myself every time he touched the ball just saying, God, I love watching him play.
Yeah.
Because he was always where he was supposed to be. I don't remember very many times where he caught a ball and he was covered. You know, he was one of those guys that always seemed to be open, and he was a chain mover. Every time, I don't know what the exact stat is. I have to go back and look at, but I'll just bet you that of the balls he caught, maybe 35 or 40% of them went for first downs.
Right.
And it was third and short, third and intermediate. He could catch a ball at the line of scrimmage on a 3rd down and 8 and still make it. You know, things like that.
So we almost had like a built-in H option, and the option was, okay, well, you had the option to break it out on a 5-yard out. You had the option to sit it down in zone, and you also had the option to take it up the hash. Every time he ran that route, he made the right decision. I can't tell you that I always did, or that Mike Tolbert did, or Ryan Matthews, or even LT. LT made it most of the time.
Right.
But Sproles was so good and had such a feel for his role that's why he thrived for so long. So I can't wait to ask Ken Trahan when he comes on a little bit about it.
Why don't you call Sproles? We'll get him on the show.
I could. He's actually with the Eagles, so he's probably pretty busy. He actually took a role in the front office with the Eagles, and so he can't get away from it. Come on.
Yeah, we'll track him down at some point. Maybe take us to the off season.
I gotta see. I wonder what the I think it's I got it right here. He was hired as a personal consultant with the Eagles football operations department. Brent Selleck is also former Eagle. He is in the same position.
Tight end.
Yeah,
I remember him. The NBA's decided to resume the playoffs. They're going back to work tomorrow. The 3 games today will be postponed. Yesterday was a historic day. You've never seen anything quite like that. There have been players that have sat out of boycotted games, but never full teams and never a full league like yesterday. There were 2 things that struck me in the response of the players to the boycott of the games, or the protesters sitting out of the games, however you want to phrase it. One of them was from Jaylen Brown with the Celtics, and there was a very emotional meeting last night. And Brown came out of the meeting, or the report came out of the meeting that was, Brown said, okay, if we're going to stop playing here, because the season was when everybody went to bed last night, the season was in jeopardy. They were going to shut it down. They were going to leave the bubble. He said, what are we going to do if we do shut it down? Or are we going on vacation? Or we going? Everybody misses their families. You know, they've been there for almost 2 months, and no matter how nice the accommodations and no matter how much money you're making, you miss your family after that amount of time. You miss your family after a lot less than that amount of time. So you get emotional about that stuff. So what are we going to do? Are we going to take that time and go somewhere else and be able to make a difference there? Or we're just going to go home and see our families, or we're going to go home on vacation? And the next step for that was, if you lose this, my thought was, if you lose this platform, you lose a lot of your voice, okay? That making a statement as a collective voice is easier, especially with the games, to make the statements that you want to make. If Jaylen Brown goes home, even if he is active in his community, he's not going to have the platform. George Hill, who's been very outspoken, is not going to have that platform in his individual community.
Right.
LeBron James might, okay? But he's the biggest name in the sport. But many of the others will lose it. So if this platform, if making progress is what you're after, and it certainly is, then your platform is is better there.
Yeah.
Your voice is louder there. Your unity is more defined there. The other one came from Draymond Green, and he's not even in the bubble. And he said, why does the business of NBA have to stop? We can do this too. Not everybody, nobody else is shutting down their business in the interest of activism. We don't have to shut our business down. It's not a game for us. It's a business.
Right.
And I thought that made a lot of sense too, because they can use their financial leverage and their platform better if the business continues to go than if it doesn't. It doesn't mean that you're oblivious to the cause. It means that you're using your platform and your financial leverage in a different way if you stay there.
Right.
Those two comments sort of resonated with me in the aftermath.
And we saw Major League Baseball, and we saw the WNBA and the MLS as well decide not to play last night. And so now, and this is my opinion, I think now you showed that you mean business, right? And you wanted to gain attention to what you're trying to achieve, which is social justice for everyone, right? And so what last night did was, okay, well, now you got that attention, and so you can say, okay, well, we're going to go back on the field, but we want you to know that this is something that everyone should care about, right?
Yeah. And the idea, social justice for everybody, is an impossible ask, okay? It's what you're striving for every day. We're all striving to serve the perfect life, to have a perfect society. It's never going to happen. It doesn't mean you stop striving for it, okay? I get that part of it. But, when they were in that meeting last night and you're saying, we believe in this, we want to make a difference here. And then they announced the meeting of the Board of Governors this morning. I'm like, if they're expecting the NBA Board of Governors to be able to come out of this meeting and make some kind of move, financial, a statement, whatever, and then all of the social justice ills are going to be cured, that's an impossible ask. So if you want to keep moving in this direction, they've certainly heightened awareness to the cause. They've certainly made their voices known. If you want to continue to do that, the way to do that is to continue to play, to continue to keep your business model going, and not to, we're not going to play anymore. If you don't play, you lose your platform. You don't lose your entire voice, but you lose a lot of your voice. So I think going forward is the best for the league, and I think it's best for the cause.
And the NBA has given them the platform for their voices to be heard, and they've allowed them the opportunity to try to share their message and to change the names on the back of their jerseys and all those type of things. And look, you can't ask to allow the players to have a voice, but if they say something you don't like, say, I want to take it back.
Right.
I mean, this is the players' voice. This is what they're passionate about, which we all should be passionate about: social justice for everyone and equality, right? So this is something that I think the NBA is giving them that platform, and I think it's best within their platform to get the message out to the masses, because you're right. Few players would have the ability to still gain the attention, but for the majority, it's got to be attached to the NBA brand, because then you're going to have that platform, you're going to have the eyeballs and all those type of things.
The NHL, who played yesterday, has called off their playoff games for today. We'll take a break. When we come back, Ken Trahan of Crescent City Sports will be with us. Saints and a little bit of Pelicans. This is Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
GMFS Mortgage, GMFSmortgage.com, helping you with your financial goals right now with interest rates at all-time lows. Your purchasing power for new homes has never been better. Your ability to refi and have a lower monthly note, a shorter time off to pay your house off if that's what you want, and the ability to skip a mortgage payment or two. Free up a little bit of cash here as we are still in Phase 2. You can start your journey at gmfsmortgage.com. Meet with a local counselor. They'll ask you some questions, and at that point, you'll know what all your options are. You can work towards a financial solution for you and your family. They'll take you from there all the way through the closing. There won't be any surprises. I know you're going to be pleased at how rapid that process goes. Maybe you want to add on to your home. Where you are, a construction loan is also in the offing from GMFS Mortgage. Do what I did. Do what thousands of others have done. Start your financial journey today at gmfsmortgage.com.
Saints coverage, Chiefs, Cowboys, Thursday night, Sunday night, and Monday Night Football. From the opening kickoff to the playoffs and the Super Bowl, the NFL lives on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Here at the Big Squeezy, we continue to serve the Baton Rouge and Southeast Louisiana areas during these troubling times. We are dedicated to providing you healthy food items to help you live your best life. From our cold-pressed juices to our delicious smoothies, let the Big Squeezy keep you going. Stay active, stay happy, and let us help you stay healthy. Visit us at our locations and also inside of Alexander's and Mathern's grocery stores or online at thebigsqueezy.com.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, if not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Tune into a Thursday edition of Game Time with Jimmy Ott. We're live from Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Weather permitting, we'll be there from 6 to 8 p.m. So come eat some delicious char-grilled oysters or tune in here at 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
We're brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Join us now from CrescentCitySports.com, and of course, with the Saints Hall of Fame is our friend Ken Trahan. Ken, how you doing this afternoon?
Hey guys, doing fine, thank you.
You want to hit him with it first, Jacob?
Let's go. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's
we're
go
having,
right out of
we're
the
having
gate.
a debate.
We're having a debate on the show, Ken. Obviously, you're part of the New Orleans Saints Hall of Fame there, but we asked the question: is Darren Sproles a Pro Football Hall of Famer?
Yeah, it's a great question. I would say no.
Oh, Ken.
He's a good player. Not a great player. Good player over an extended period of time. Extremely versatile. And, of course, a guy you admire greatly because of his diminutive size, right? So, I mean, this is a guy that overcame everything. And, I mean, he took the choppiest steps I've ever seen in my life, but he was fast, and he was really uncoverable out of the backfield. He could run that zero route better than anybody. And just a really good football player, but I wouldn't call him a Hall of Famer in New Orleans Saints history. There have been better backs than him. In fact, you know, guys that played in the same era, Pierre Thomas in particular, who was more versatile. And did a lot of things, Deuce McAllister, obviously. But he's a very good player, and make no mistake about it. And if that were to happen, it wouldn't bother me at all.
No, and we were talking about the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah, exactly. Precisely. I know what you're talking about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, with the Saints, he wasn't here very long. So,
right, exactly.
I think that's a little bit of a different dynamic. But when you look at the balance of his career, he's been real good.
Ken, let's talk about the Saints continuing, their lead up to the season. Sean Payton talking about not being able to have preseason games and this and not being able to work out with other teams. This has necessitated full scrimmaging, and Jacob can't remember ever being asked to go through a full scrimmage with his own team. And all the times you cover the Saints, unique, I would say, that they're going to have to, by necessity, go to full scrimmages.
Yeah, I went to training camp starting back in 1980 in Vero Beach with the Saints, and covered camps all over the place with them. Not as much daily now at all. I have other people who do that. But from the standpoint of scrimmaging, in the old days, yes. When I say the old days, look, I'm dating myself, right? So, yeah, back in those times in Vero Beach in the early 80s, they did that type of thing. And once in a while in the 90s, but not so much recently, obviously. And the Players Union has a lot to do with that. So, yeah, it's a totally different dynamic. But, of course, everybody's in the same boat. So this is not an unusual circumstance. Saints are going to head to the Superdome tomorrow to try to get themselves acclimated to the stadium and the field they play in and on, in particular, with no fans, since that's going to be the case at least for the first game of the year and could be more than that. So I'm sure they'll pipe in some sound and things of that nature and try to do everything to try to acclimate themselves to what they can expect.
Your team's a veteran team with not a lot of position battles, Ken, when we're talking about the center and right guard position battles, and it's between two guys. It's who's going to play center and who's going to play right guard. Really, that's one of the things that's come out of Saints camp. It's kind of the carousel of those two guys kind of going back and forth. When do you think they'll make a decision on that?
Maybe they have already. Right? I don't know that, but they're still alternating them and giving them reps at the two spots each on a regular basis. So maybe there's still an evaluation going on. My personal feeling was that they drafted Ruiz to play center. But, of course, the pandemic changed all of that. The lack of an offseason changed it all. And that's not to slight Eric McCoy at all. You guys saw him in the SEC. He's a pretty good player. And he had a nice rookie season here. And, yes, he can play center and play at a good level in this league, but I think they saw Ruiz as being a guy that could be more of an elite guy and more of a mauler at that position as well. Now, the good news is that both of them are saying all the right things. They're both saying, look, we'll play wherever they want us to play, and we can accept the task and handle it well, and by all accounts, they've done that. That's pretty interesting because I don't think anybody would have said that the biggest question mark about the Saints would be their interior offensive line 2 months ago, but certainly that would be the case now with Andrus Peat being out and Nick Easton probably have to plug in, and now you're going to have to play a second-year player and a first-year player at the other two spots on the interior. We all know their tackles are elite, but when last we saw the Saints, it was the interior of their offensive line that struggled against the Minnesota Vikings. So that becomes an interesting dynamic and certainly a talking point and a concern, at least at this point in time.
Ken Trahan is our guest from CrescentCitySports.com. Ken, the New Orleans Pelicans are looking for a head basketball coach. That got complicated a little bit this week with openings in Philadelphia and Indiana. Where do you think the Pelicans search is right now, and how much do you think the other two jobs coming open affects the Pelicans search?
Yeah, I think the issue here is that you have three really good jobs open in Philadelphia, Brooklyn, New Orleans. And Indiana's not a bad job either, perennial playoff team. So you've got some attractive pieces in every one of those places. Now, Brooklyn that's, of course, a hot iron to touch, right? Because you're dealing with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. So that one's kind of, you have to have the intestinal fortitude to be able to deal with a job like that. Philadelphia, it's a matter of how you want to structure the team because they have a ton of talent, but they're obviously square pegs and round holes in terms of fits, and I don't think anybody feels Embiid and Simmons can play together long-term and be successful. So stay tuned for that. Indiana's a nice team. They don't have that one great player, but they've got good players, and they're a playoff team. And then, of course, when you're looking at New Orleans, you have Zion Williamson. You've got Brandon Ingram, both of whom are very young players, and they got 6 other players that are 22 or under. So it's an attractive job, to say the least. Therefore, I think it's going to attract the kind of attention you want. Now, say Tyronn Lue is the target of 1 or 2 of the other jobs. Would New Orleans rank over them? I don't know the answer to that. The good news is there's a connection there, as you know, with David Griffin, with Lue having worked with him in Cleveland. And I think you have to look at the connections when you're looking at the guys that are most notable in this search. Certainly that's the case with Jacques Vaughn, who's the interim coach of the Nets right now, worked with Trajan Langdon in Brooklyn, but it's also the case with Kenny Atkinson, the former Brooklyn Nets head coach who developed young players well and worked with Trajan Langdon there too. So you got 3 guys that have definitive connections there. Jason Kidd's been mentioned frequently. He's been a head coach twice in the league and, of course, was a good player in the league also. But there's some others that you might want to keep in mind as well that I would certainly mention. I think you certainly would look at the Spurs. They have 2 assistants. Will Hardy, he's only 32, but he's a really dynamic young coach. And the top assistant to Greg Popovich would ought to tell you something. Becky Hammon, of course. Everyone's talked about her as possible being the first female head coach in NBA history. Stay tuned where that one's concerned. Darvin Ham, the Milwaukee Bucks. It's a terrific team, and Darvin Ham's been the top guy to Mike Budenholzer, and he's done a really good job there. Certainly, I think you have to consider Sam Cassell, Clippers assistant, like Tyronn Lue is. He's an NBA 3-time champion and an 11-year assistant in the league as well. Anthony Grant's an assistant to Billy Donovan at Oklahoma City that people like a lot. And then maybe if you want to throw in a wild card on the college level, SEC, Jerry Stackhouse, Vanderbilt, former NBA player of great note, and he, of course, has been a personal coach to Brandon Ingram. Again, you think about connections, right? So there's just some names I think that certainly you can float very comfortably.
Ken, I've got to imagine all the front office changes that the Pelicans have made over the last year and a half have got to make that job a lot more intriguing to potential candidates because, and we talked about it yesterday, not disrespecting Mickey Loomis or anyone who was doing it before, but they were trying to run 2 organizations, 2 different sports, and that was always going to be very difficult. So now that the front office has shored itself up, I've got to imagine that makes this job look even better, even knowing the roster is extremely talented and young.
I think that if you talk to people around the league, there's a lot of respect for David Griffin. There's a lot of respect for Trajan Langdon. There's a lot of respect for Swin Cash, just to name a few. So as a result, yeah, I think your premise is correct, that the perception is good. And then I think when people look at this job and they see that they've got so many young players, I think coaches like the idea of being able to come in, put in their system, and kind of impose their will. You can do that with young players. That's why I mentioned the Brooklyn job being an iron-hot job earlier, because can you really do that when you've got a Kevin Durant and a Kyrie Irving? Because as we know in the NBA, the players really have the control, more so than the other professional sports. Players have gotten coaches fired frequently in the NBA. We know this. So I think that with a young team, it makes it more attractive to a coach to say, I can go in there and install my system and I can discipline and make some demands and get some response to that. Whereas with a veteran team, that's not as likely to happen.
Ken, is a sense of urgency removed from this search because we don't know exactly when next season is going to start, other than the fact that we know it's not going to start in October?
I think everybody would like to try to see it settled as quickly as possible. And yet, no, I think that's also correct, that you don't have the immediacy that you would have because of the timing. Look, we're still waiting for the NBA playoffs to resume, right? They're not going to play tonight. ESPN report that they will start again tomorrow, but even that's still a bit up in the air, meeting this afternoon to determine that. So, look, yes, I think that from the standpoint of the timing, because next season is obviously going to be pushed back slightly, it makes it a little bit more palatable to be able to take a deep breath, make sure you examine every potential candidate, uncover every rock, and come up with the best possible solution. Look, it's an important hire because you look at the history of this organization and the coaches they've had here, it's been a mixed bag. They haven't had that one guy that stood out by any stretch of the imagination. So they're looking for that guy that can be that guy, somebody they can hang their hat on and expect him to be here for an elongated period of time.
Ken Trahan, CrescentCitySports.com. Thanks so much for spending some time with us. Have a good weekend. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon.
Jacob, Charles, it's a pleasure always. Thank you.
Thanks, Ken.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
Gotros Outdoor Power for all your property maintenance needs, and our friends at SCAG honoring the first responders and all of our police, fire, and medical personnel with a 15% discount off off standard price on all of your SCAG zero turns. And this summer here, just for the next few days, a little bit something extra coming along, not just a free delivery, but a little bit something extra from SCAG as well.
That's right, Hanny, and it starts today. And runs through Saturday the 29th, and that is 15% off select Echo Power equipment. Hurricane season, we obviously know that. Hunting season is around the corner, so pole saws, chainsaws, brush cutters, generators, all of those 15% off, and that is good at both locations. So Airline at Industriaplex in Baton Rouge. That's Airline at 74 in Gonzales. Remember, you can always check them out online at GoTrosOutdoorPower.com. That's Gotros. We make it easy.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
This is a house call. This is a test result. This is a prescription refill. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare. Start your virtual visit today at Auctioner Health.
Citizens Bank is proud to bring you the Fan of the Week. But during these times with no fans, Citizens Bank is switching its support to the Banking on BR campaign to raise money for the Baton Rouge Food Bank. You can help out by visiting brfoodbank.org or bankingonbr.com.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, make not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Coming up on Fridays, Off the Bench. Recap the latest from Saints camp. It's black and gold scrimmage at pads. How LSU football continues to navigate the recent outbreak. And a casual Friday tier list. That's right. We're ranking breakfast cereals. Off the Bench. 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Today's show is also brought to you in part by Supreme Rice, and we want to send our best out to our friends at Supreme Rice down in Crowley. They did sustain some damage, but they were able to make it through Hurricane Laura. Supreme Rice, as we've told you, the perfect complement for every meal. Hey, listen, if you were in here last night doing storm coverage with us, my wife made chicken stew because, she wanted to feed the crew. Nice lady. She used Supreme Rice, of course. So whether it's a stew or an etouffee or red beans and rice, white beans and rice, gumbo when it gets a little bit colder, Supreme Rice is the perfect complement for any meal. The long grain, the brown rice, the jasmine, which is our favorite, which is what we cooked last night. You and your family are going to be happy with Supreme Rice. Supreme Rice from Louisiana. Support your Louisiana farmers, grown, milled, and processed right here in South Louisiana. And some of the farmers also, we send our thoughts out to them because they took quite a hit last night. Supreme Rice, easy to get at all of your Rouses, all of your Costco's, all of your AG food dealers. Supreme Rice, for more information and great recipes, go to supremerice.com. When you were being recruited, did you ever think that it would be necessary for you to sue for the right to play?
No, Hanny.
Of things that never crossed your mind, not one time in your life?
Right. And we talked about it at the very beginning of the pandemic because we thought college football had so much time and we thought everyone would move forward. And in fact, a lot of people thought that there would be almost full stadiums or 80,000 or large numbers.
We thought the heat was going to knock out the virus in March. A lot of people thought that the heat would not. And I'll be honest with you, that sounded perfect. I'm not a medical guy, but that sounded perfectly reasonable to me. Who gets these viruses in the summer, or who gets the flu in the summer? That sounded perfectly reasonable to me.
And they had played college football through other things, through other pandemics and world wars and 1918 season. So all of that, right? All that information. And so, history told us that there would be college football and every team would be involved. So, no, when I was getting recruited, that never crossed my mind that one day I would be suing someone because I, wasn't given the opportunity to go out there when other people were.
8 Nebraska football players today filed a lawsuit against the Big Ten. They want to invalidate the league's postponement of the football season. Listen, I think that they have zero chance to get this done in timely enough manner to get a fall football season done. But the second part is interesting, is to award damages. Now, they're using the Big Ten's own governing documents and then citing public statements from the presidents at Michigan State and Minnesota that were contradictory to those. And this is mostly about the vote. I'm not going to bore you with the legalese, but they think that they've got a case here. So all I can tell you is that if they can't get this processed by the time football season would start, and I can't imagine that even in a rocket docket you would be able to do something like that, then you're talking about damages. And I'm just wondering what the ramifications would be if they win to the Big Ten. You cost me the potential of being drafted by the NFL, and this would have been my rookie contract.
Yeah.
Times however many guys
that would add on to this
that would be able to, because if they win, then everybody's going to pile on.
Floodgates,
And then you got to get into, well, you got drafted in the league anyway. I would have went higher. Well, now how much?
They've got
how much
guys
would that
they
be
can
worth?
point to. They got guys they can point to. Hey, here was my role. Here's what I was going to be. That guy that was in front of me is now gone, and I could improve my draft stock. So if I got a 5th round grade last year, well, I could have possibly got a 3rd or a 2nd round. So if they win, that is a completely different conversation.
This isn't about Justin Fields and Micah Parsons. I mean, not those guys. Those guys are going to get drafted anyway. This is about the offensive lineman from Minnesota that might have gone in the 2nd or 3rd round, ends up going in the 6th or 7th round, or the safety from Illinois that doesn't get drafted at all, but had a draft grade. You imagine calling Mel Kiper as a witness? Mel, where would this guy have gone? Well, I tell you, you know what, he had great feet. He could be full blown Mel on the stand. So this is how much you get in damages. Ultimately, with my very limited legal training, which is to say none.
You're selling yourself short. You said you got no medical knowledge, you got no legal knowledge. Hanny, I believe in you, brother.
I also am a lousy cook, and if the truck needs to be repaired, I got nothing. Okay,
now, I can't believe that. You can change your oil.
I can change it. When I was a kid, we actually did work on the vehicles. I could change oil. I could change a water pump. Okay.
So, see?
I assisted in the changing out of a carburetor. That was back when you could actually work on a vehicle and you didn't have to have. I was by no means good at it.
See, you're selling yourself short there. But this conversation obviously is something we've talked about for a long time, and we talked with the Central Arkansas athletic director earlier, and throughout the show since we've talked to him, Brad Teague, and it was fantastic. If you missed it, catch it on our YouTube page. But since we've had that conversation with him, going through my mind is, why have other teams not done this? And I'm not even talking about Big Ten teams, because obviously, who do you play? You could play a couple of ACC opponents, a couple of Big 12 opponents, then you'd have to get some G5 opponents. But why have other places and other teams within even their same conference, why have they not tried to do this? Why is Central Arkansas the only team that has gone out and got themselves a schedule?
Here's my answers to that. For the big conferences, it's money.
Yeah,
so
I understand that.
We'll take that part out.
Right.
The part of the interview that struck me was when he talked about the support that he had from his university president, and I don't know that is standard anywhere. I think it's actually probably pretty rare. I think you walk into the office of the president at most universities and say, we want to play football, and the first word that comes to his mind, I mean the very first word, is liability.
Yeah.
And I just think that most presidents are not willing to go out there, because if something happens, your fault, my fault, nobody's fault, guess who's getting blamed?
Right.
And and then that's it. He apparently had not only the backing of his president, but the wherewithal to be able to answer all of the president's questions about liability. What are you going to do about testing? We have a deal with the hospital.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which was big.
That's huge. It just costs too much. It's easy to say that. No. Let me go make a deal with the hospital where I can get more tests in. Well, we lost our game with Missouri. There goes $450,000. How are you going to make that up? Well, here's my 3 games. I got UAB for $200,000. I got Arkansas State for $100,000. I got UL Lafayette for $150,000. I'm at a net zero. What else you got?
Yeah.
And everything he answered, and he went and made his case. And I got to think that was the real hammer on getting it done. You had a determined athletic director, and when his president came to him with his list of concerns, he was able to answer them all.
And you would think that more athletic directors would be able to go to their presidents, lay that information out, have a plan in place to be able to have at least somewhat of a schedule. Again, that's why Brad T is going to be first class for a long time on this show, just honorary. You're like, we don't even have to talk about it. We can just know.
We're gonna get that job. We're gonna get that guy the next big job.
We are.
Central Arkansas is gonna be mad at us. We keep him forever because that guy's great. Today's show also brought to you in part by Louisiana Health and Injury Centers, helping you deal with pain, whether it be from auto accidents or sports injuries, or sometimes you're just getting old, man. Stuff starts to hurt. Discs, muscle and ligament strains, neck or back discomfort. Let them ease your suffering through some, they're going to set up a program for you. That's what they did for me. Some exercises, some stretches, or maybe you need dry needling. Maybe you need electric nerve stimulation or ultrasound or cryotherapy. Now with 4 locations, Louisiana Health and Injury Centers can ease your suffering. 13406 Airline Highway, 2832 Plank Road, 467 Oak Plaza Boulevard in Brewley, and on Jefferson Highway near Drusilla, with easy access from both I-10 and I-12. Louisiana Health and Injury Centers. Ask Us is next. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
All right, Baton Rouge Foundation Repair offers services to correct the settlement of both slab foundations and pier and beam foundations. We tell you every single day. You can go to brfoundation.com. There you can find a full list of the services that they provide. Also, you can check out those warranties with the slab foundations and the pier and beam foundations. You can find the gallery of photos with the before and after pictures. Baton Rouge Foundation Repair's water shield pilings are engineered to withstand poor drainage conditions. And as you know, in South Louisiana, that's something that is very important. They've been servicing the greater Baton Rouge area for more than 22 years. And the owner, Michael LaMonica, I know we tell you this every single day because it's important. The first meeting we had with him, he said, hey, the people of Baton Rouge mean something to me. I want to make sure that I give them my word and I can stand behind that word. That's very important. Estimates always free on that website I gave you, brfoundation.com. You can always pick up the phone as well and give them a call at 225-275-0101.
Off the Bench, Hangin with Hester and Hanny. After further review and more are all live daily on the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge YouTube channel. Subscribe now to interact with us inside the live chat driven by Bayou Ford.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
ServiceMASTER Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMASTER Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMASTER Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Prompt, professional, reliable. If you're looking for a breath of fresh air with your AC and heating needs, call the professionals at Anison Bitter. Anison Bitter, a Rheem Pro partner, keeping...
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Thursday's AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Tigers and Saints on the practice field. We'll talk about all of it with Mike Detillier. Join us Thursday, 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Look how warm and fuzzy I am right now. Man, it started off good today, but I almost made it all the way through the show without having to sweatshirt up in here.
Yeah, I stay ready so I don't have to get ready. I know I look foolish walking around Baton Rouge in August and pants and a track jacket, but I know where I'm coming, the tundra.
You can tell which floor you work on in this building as to what you're wearing, because last night I did storm coverage in our Talk 107.3 studio,
right,
which is downstairs on the second floor. We're up here on the third floor. And so you go down there, and it looks like you're going to do a show in Bermuda. They're all in shorts and flip-flops. They're in, cut off shirts with the sleeves cut off, and there's a fan, and everybody, you almost got a sweat rag down there. I found it comfortable because we're used to free. Up here, you look like Nanak of the North.
Yeah, I'd rather be cold than hot though, because I can always layer up. I don't think you want me with my shirt off sitting down there in the talk studio.
Ever tell you about the show that Gordy did with his shirt off once?
Doesn't surprise me. The guy takes his shirt off. If there's an opportunity, it's coming off.
The lights went out at Walk-Ons one night. It was a big power outage.
Yeah.
He did the whole show with his shirt off. That was an old Tiger song. I don't know what made me think of that. Let's see. That was back before Facebook Live.
Yes.
I think that was before Facebook, period.
Ooh, Facebook 2004?
I think it was.
believe.
I think this was in the early days.
It was only
of,
college
Tiger
students,
Zone.
and you had to have an @edu email to be able to sign up for
We
Facebook
definitely
back
weren't
then.
on video. We did do some TV back then, but that wasn't that wasn't. I just remember we were on. You've been in the Walk-Ons Baton Rouge, where in the bar area when they first built it, the far side of it where they've got booths now was an oyster bar.
Right.
You remember that?
Yes.
Okay, and the oyster bar, they took and they covered the oyster bar with a platform that we could put our setup there. And so we were about 6 feet above the floor looking out over everybody. And one Wednesday night, we're doing the show, and all of a sudden, just we're maybe 4 minutes to air, and the lights go out. And so we ran a generator. We got everything going, and Gordy decided to do the show topless. I don't know why. I don't know why you made me think of that.
Rush.
You want to move on to Ask Us?
Yeah, let's do that.
Ask Us in the Bayou Ford chat on YouTube. Ask Us favorite breakfast cereal. That's easy.
So I am a cereal lover, so I go in waves. I mean, it can be Cocoa Puffs, it can be Fruity Pebbles, Cocoa Pebbles. Right now, it's Raisin Bran. If I'm eating a little bit healthier, Corn Pops, I can go Honeycombs. I mean, you name it. If it's got a cartoon character on it, chances are I'm going to enjoy it. Lucky Charms, Tricks.
Well, Frosted Flakes for me, but
you're great.
The grandkids love Lucky Charms, and the 3-year-old calls them Yucky Charms. So
but they're not yucky.
Papa, give me some Yucky Charms, but they're not right. Exactly.
Right.
So she's not getting it right.
Cereal is best at night, by the way.
Ask Us, does Eli belong in the Hall of Fame?
Well, according to your standards of having Super Bowl moments, that would go. No, I'm saying that would go a long way, right?
Yeah.
Beating those Patriot teams, beating the team that was going for an undefeated season. I know the stats. Now, he played for a long time. The yardage is going to be up there, but the touchdown interception ratio, the win-loss record, I believe it stayed at 500, or one game over 500 maybe.
Yeah.
So those things will come into question. I think with his name and what he did against those Patriot teams, it probably gets him in at some point.
He's going to get in. I'll give you one of the most powerful arguments for me is that he won something like 6 road playoff games. You know how hard it is to win a playoff game in the road in the NFL on the road, and he's got like
damn hard.
He's got like 6 of them. I got to go look up the exact numbers, and you're right. His raw numbers will stack up okay. The touchdown interception ratio might be a little bit off. I'm not looking right at it, but yes, he's getting in the Hall of Fame. Ask Us, does Marcus Colston belong in the Hall of Fame? Okay, so Colston's been retired for 5 years. They tried to nominate him, and he cannot be nominated because he never made a Pro Bowl. They denied the nomination. Which, when you think about the numbers that Marcus Colston put up over the course of his career,
10,000 yards, 72 receiving touchdowns,
and never made a Pro Bowl. So they tried to nominate him, and they couldn't. So that one's not gonna.
The Pro Bowl is such a fraternity that
it's become so much watered down now. I think in
but
the
even
80s,
but even when it wasn't, it
was.
was, oh, that guy was good last year. And there's examples. There's one year that I honestly, I was an alternate. I thought I was going to get in. I had 2 special teams touchdowns, and I led our team in special teams tackles, and a guy on our team made the Pro Bowl, and I didn't. So, but he had been a really good player for a really long time, and so I knew. I didn't even really think. I was like, hey, he's going to get it. And that's kind of what the Pro Bowl was when I was in the league. It was like, oh, that guy got in last year. He's been there 5 times already. Yeah, surely he had a good year. I remember having those conversations in the room and the player portion of it. You'd be like, God, that guy was so good. I was like, yeah, it was good like 3 years ago.
Ask us, or ask Jacob, your most memorable NFL game that you played in.
The walk-off win, speaking of Darren Sproles, we had in the playoffs against the Colts, overtime game, 30 ISO. Darren Sproles takes it 30 yards to the house, and it was a walk-off baseball fashion, albeit in Jack Murphy Stadium, by the way, where the Padres played for a long time. That one was pretty hard to beat. Mm-hmm. Anytime you can walk a team off in the postseason, and by the way, you were 8-8 and they were 12-4.
Ask Hanny, when you were a student at LSU, what was your favorite road game trip to make? We didn't make a ton of them. The football team was awful. Okay, I mean, they just
bad when you talk about it.
They were. We had one particularly memorable trip to College Station. The game was not fun. It was 113 degrees on the field, and we were about 8 rows up. But it was a very, very good party. So I'll give you that. I saw LSU play Ole Miss in Jackson more than once.
Yeah,
that was an easy trip. It wasn't a long drive, so we made that one.
I tell you what, I've enjoyed going up to Fayetteville. I know it's a little bit colder there, but we played them in Little Rock and War Memorial, which is a dump, and so it was good to see Fayetteville come back into the rotation.
Ask us, best reason to dislike Tom Brady.
Can't beat him. I mean, Jeez, the guy's an animal. As a former player, I appreciate his work ethic.
Anybody who's got the money and the clout to rent Derek Jeter's house.
That's right.
Okay, come on,
That's right.
man.
The security deposit wasn't a big deal for him.
Ask Jake, did you enjoy living in Denver?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I loved it. Snow, mountains. Next day it's gone because it's sunny. Sign me up.
Thanks to everybody for participating. For Cade was and for Paula, did Playboy Marty leave early? Did that guy ever work a full shift? For Jacob Hester, I'm Charles Hanagriff. Thank you and good afternoon. Stay tuned for AFR 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge.